Shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to give our honor and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Right, we the servants back at it again with another video through the Spirit. It's brother Yah.
Shalom, brother Eli.
Khan. So today, man, we get into the title is the sower and the soil. Right, the sower and the soil. But before we get into that topic, right, we're gonna get a couple of current events and things that's been going on within the world. All right, we're gonna match it up with prophecy. Okay. So let's get this thing popping through the Spirit. First thing we're going to start off with is this.
Now, you got something going in your background.
I do. Is it still there? Is it on it now?
Nope. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, kind.
Yeah, it's still playing in the background.
Something playing? Let me see. I ain't got nothing playing. Let's see. I just had a video. I ain't got nothing.
No, you good. Can't go for it. You good. I fixed it. I know what it was.
Okay, Con. All right, Con. So this is the first current event we're gonna get into. It says Putin announces completion of first mass production or a SNCC. Okay, so when we go into this, we're gonna talk about this thing and see how did this matter, how does current event matter. So let's get into it. So the title is being delivered to Russia's forces. The president has said the first mass-produced Orishnik hypersonic missile system has entered service with Russia's armed forces. President Vladimir Putin announced on Friday during a briefing on the state of the military operation in Ukraine.
Yeah, show your screen, I can't see it.
You gotta add it to the back from the backstage. There you go. It says Russia battle tested the new hypersonic missile in November by conducting a strike on the military factory in Ukraine. The Orishnik missile is believed to be nuclear capable. Okay, although Putin had previously stated its conventional form can inflict damage comparable to a low yield nuclear explosion. So it's saying that this new weapon, this new hypersonic missile, right, could be missile capability, have nuclear capabilities. Now, what does it mean when something has hypersonic missile? For those that don't know, brothers might say, well, I don't know anything about no hypersonic missile, anything like that. So let's just go to this right quick. All right, let's get a definition. Just so y'all kind of see what's going on. It says this. It said hypersonic missiles are advanced weapons that travel at speeds exceeding Mach 5 times the speed of sound. So it's saying these missiles are so fast, they go 5 times faster than the speed of sound, right? It says and can maneuver during flight, posing significant challenges to current defense systems. So not only do these missiles go 5 times faster than the speed of sound, they also can maneuver through flight. So they don't just go shoo, they don't shoot like that. They go in different directions. Hypersonic missiles are defined as weapons that can travel at speeds greater than Mach 5, which translates to over 3,800 miles per hour, approximately 6,100 kilometers per hour at sea level. Okay, so that's to kind of give y'all kind of understanding of what we're talking about here, right? The level that these missiles are, right? They're serious, big business. This is big business. Okay, so now let's go back. So now we kind of got an understanding of what kind of missile this is that they're talking about. It says the first mass-produced Orishnik hypersonic missile system has entered service with Russia's armed forces. President Vladimir Putin announced on Friday during a briefing on the state of the military operation in Ukraine. So they still beefing up their army, right? They're still beefing up their army. They're creating these hypersonic missiles. They got a lot going on. Now, what does this have to do with America? What does it have to do with prophecy? We're going to get to that very next. I'm gonna read this last. It says Russia battle tested the nuclear hypersonic missile in November by conducting a strike on a military factory in Ukraine. The Orshnik missile is believed to be nuclear capable, although they kind of just repeating the same thing they just said in the previous thing. So now let's go to this article right here. Where now this came out from an ex-Pentagon analyst, and he's going into talking about the same missile, the Orshnik missile that Russia has. And this is, I'm going to read the title. It says, No Defense Against Russia's Orshnik Missile, ex-Pentagon Analyst. The new weapon could shift the balance of power in favor of Moscow, Michael Maloof has told RT. Neither Ukraine nor its Western backers have any means to counter Russia's newly deployed intermediate range Orshnik missile, Michael Maloof, a former senior Pentagon security analyst, told RT in an interview on Friday. Maloof noted that the Orshnik could easily shift the balance of power overwhelmingly in favor. So it said it can greatly. That's what that means. When something is overwhelming, it's great, right? It's mass. So it can greatly shift the balance of power of Russia in any conflict, including the ongoing hostilities with Ukraine. Okay, let's keep going. It says having a hypersonic missile for which there is no defense currently. So currently, they're saying that there is no defense for a hypersonic missile. So you can imagine if this hypersonic missile that they're saying has nuclear capabilities, if it was to be shot at any place, whatever place it's going to is going. No one can stop it currently. At this moment, nobody can stop it. Now, this is coming from a security analyst that was in the Pentagon. Okay, is astonishing, right? So Esau says it's astonishing. It absolutely alters the balance of power dramatically, for which the Ukrainians have no defense. He said, and not only did he say peak game, he said earlier in the article that the U.S. ain't had anything that can defend against it as well, and that's what to get to in this next paragraph. It says this. He noted that while the U.S. is working to adapt missile defense systems such as the THAAD to counter hypersonic threats, these programs remain under development. So they're still in development right now. They don't have this. They don't have the capabilities to defend themselves against such a missile. There's no operational ability at this point to deal with a hypersonic missile. They can't deal with it. So again, one will say, well, what does this have to do, right? Right? Just bear with me 1 second. Okay. So it says there is no operation capability at this point to deal with the hypersonic missile, Maloof said, adding that the Orshnik could reach its targets within mere minutes. So this thing is saying that this missile can reach its target within mere minutes. The former analyst added, it said the former analyst added that the missile also travels at a speed of over 7,000 miles. Now, this was higher than the one we had just read. An hour. There's no defense against that. right? So understand this. You had one that was giving you the definition of what a hypersonic missile is. Now it's telling you the level or the ability that the Orchard missile has. So it has higher and more powerful capabilities than your regular hypersonic missile. Okay, it says the former analyst added that the missile also travels at the speed of over 7,000 miles an hour. There's no defense against that, he said. There's no defense against that. So we look at this and we hearing these things, right? Understand what is being said. And the thing is, who has put these things into play? Right? Who is putting these nations? Who is putting Putin to this in this position? His scientists, his madmen in this position to where now they're creating bombs and missiles to things that no man can stop. How is this happening? Okay, hold on, just bear with. All right, so let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 16, and let's go to verse 5. It says this: may one turn again an arrow that is shot of a strong arrow. So can someone, right, shoot an arrow? Can someone turn back the arrow that is shot from a strong arrow? No. Once that arrow is released, it's gone. You can't stop it. So that this strong arrow is this missile. Put it up. The strong arrow is this missile. Okay. Now I'm getting my charger. I got to plug my laptop in. The laptop is going dead. So this strong missile, who can stop it? Now we're gonna go to verse number 13. It says, "For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow." So strong is the strength of the man that bendeth the bow, and no nation that is in power without the Lord. Right? The nation the Lord Most High put these different nations in power and give them the ability that they have, because Most High runs everything. Okay, it says, "For strong is the right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world." So these and with this being said is the Most High, he's going to shoot arrows, and the arrows he's going to shoot at these different nations, chiefly Babylon, is going to be those missiles. He's using he's using these different nations to tear down Babylon, and this is not a new thing. Think about it through the spirit. The Neo Babylon Empire. Who did he use? Let's go. Let's get a precept. All right, we're gonna go to Isaiah 45 and 1. Isaiah 45 and 1. Get that for y'all. Isaiah 45 verse 1. It says, Thus said the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden to subdue nations before him. I will loose the loins of kings, to open before him, to lead the gate, to leave gates, and the gates shall not be shut. I will go before thee and make the crooked places straight. I will break in pieces the gates of brass and cut asunder the bars of iron. Right? The Lord, he put Cyrus in the position to tear down Babylon. He gave him the strength. He gave them everything that he needed to destroy Babylon. And the same thing is happening to what the Lord is doing right now with the Russians. He's giving them the strength. He's giving them the nuclear capabilities. He's giving them the knowledge. Because all these things that's to happen is the Most High's doing. And he uses man to do his bidding. All right, let me see if I had some more of that. Oh, yeah, I had another precept. Understand this. And just like how Babylon at one point in time, the Neo Babylon Empire, how at one point in time It was a vast empire. It was a great empire. But what happened? The Lord took it down. Same thing going to happen to America. The America the Great is such a vast empire that has this, it has that, it has riches, it has everybody comes here, it has all these different trading partners, the import, the export, all the different things. It's going to be broken down just like that Babylon. It says, and this is Jeremiah 50:23. It says, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among nations? And we're looking, right? We're looking. Now let's keep reading. This is interesting. Let's keep reading. It says, I have laid a snare for thee. Thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. They have striven against the Lord. They have came against the Most High. Let's keep reading. The Lord have opened his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. So we're reading this now. You think about this. Let's go back and read this. What this man said again. Let's read this again. It says the former analyst added that the missile also travels at a speed of over 7,000 miles, 11,000 kilometers an hour. There's no defense against that, he said. This missile that we're talking about is this coming from the Lord's army. Don't look at it from aspect. No, it's not the Lord. This is Putin and his military. The Lord is using this man. Lord is giving him the understanding how man don't have understanding about the Most High. Even on the left-hand side. Even on the left-hand side. And we know this. The Lord said this. He said, have there been evil in the city and the Lord have not done it? And I'm going to get that precept. Right? We got to understand that everything that we see, it's the Lord's doing. Don't always just put man at, oh yeah, well, that's man. Oh, man did that. No, that's the Most High. This is Amos 3:6. It says this. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city and the Lord have not done it? So there are different things that's going on, different violence, destruction that goes on, and it's from the Most High. That's why he's so powerful. That's why he's called the Most High. He don't just do things on the right-hand side, and all he do is all good, all loving, all care. No, he sends out destruction. Let's get another precept. Let's get this precept here. This Isaiah 45:7. This the Lord right here says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. It didn't say Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel. It says I, the Lord. So the Most High putting you on game that I create the peace. I create evil. When destruction happen, it's me. When peace happen, it's me. When love, it's all the Most High. Point blank, period. So with that saying and with that understanding, when we see these things, one will say, that's evil. Well, the Lord created it. He's Most High. Right? He do all these things. Okay? So, and then we see the title. The title of this paragraph, this next passage, it says, God's supreme power. The Most High has supreme ultimate power. And a supreme being can do all things. Only a small, like a being with small power can only do one thing. Think about it. Think of a God, all he can only do is one thing. Oh, I can only be nice. No, that's what makes the Most High so powerful and not to be taken lightly. Because he can be nice and he can send out fury. And that's what he's going to do to these nations. That's what he's going to do to America, Babylon, by these means. Okay, so let's go back. It says the form. Oh, now, family, go back to this precept. Right. No, not this one. Right here. Right in Jeremiah. It says, the Lord have opened his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord, God of hosts. So this is the work of the Most High. When you see these nations getting these different mills and things set up, that's the work of the Most High. Come against her from the utmost border upon her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. And that's what's going to happen to Babylon. Nobody's going to dwell. It's going to be finished. It's going to be utterly destroyed. And how can a place like this be utterly destroyed? By missiles with capabilities such as this. Something that can meet targets within minutes. Something that has nuclear capabilities. And you got to think about this. Even the nuclear capabilities are far advanced than what they were. Okay? So back then, you had the atomic bomb. That's the atomic bomb. Now, you have the hydrogen bomb, which is far greater and far more dangerous than the bomb that hit Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that was an atomic bomb. But now they have hydrogen bombs, which are a whole nother level. But all this is the Lord's doing. So we're seeing the Lord putting his chess pieces into place. Let me see if there's more in this article. If there's not, matter of fact, let's keep reading. It says the missile system, Maloof stated, has already been tested successfully in Ukraine in battlefield conditions. He was referring to a strike on Ukraine's Yuzhmash military industrial facility in the city of Dnipro in November 2024. Russian President Vladimir Putin said afterward that the missile's warheads flew at speeds exceeding Mach 10. Hold on now again. So when we first looked it up, it was going into hypersonic missiles and things like that. It said they go Mach 5. This is 2 times faster. This Ocean missile is 2 times faster than your regular hypersonic missile. 2 times faster, and could not be intercepted by existing air defenses. Okay. So with that being said, that's where we go back here. Remember this precept right here. What I said, I read 7, but I want to read 1 so we can get the context. So you go like, well, where's this coming from? So I want to read 1 so we can get the context. So this 2 Ezra 16:1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon, in Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Assyria. So it's letting you know, woe. That means death too. Destruction is coming. That's basically what it's saying. When you read down to verse 3, it says, I read verse 2. It said, gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. A sword is sent upon you. Who may turn it back? So when we read down and we jump down, verse 7, it says, may one turn again? First, it's telling us a sword is sent upon you. Who's going to turn back the sword? Verse 4, fire is sent among you. Who may quench it? So it's basically saying, who can stop the things that's to come? Who can stop? Who's going to stop the destruction that's going to come? When the Lord send out destructions that he's going to send to America, aka Babylon, Who's going to stop it? Who's going to put an end to the fires? Who's going to put an end to destruction? No one. No one can stop it from happening. So when you read this language of this, when the scripture saying, who's going to turn it back? Then we like, hey, when it comes to this missile, they're like, who can stop this? Nobody. That's the Lord's doing. He's showing you his pieces. He's showing you his little pawn pieces. He's showing you, all right, this is my piece right here. The Lord put that piece into place. He put that piece on the chessboard. Because he already told us through the scriptures, hey, some destruction that's coming, fire is coming, the sword is coming, but this arrow is coming. Who's going to stop it? Who's going to drive it away? Who's going to turn it back? Now we're seeing the different, like we really matching up the scriptures, right? You go to Isaiah, not Isaiah, but who was Jeremiah 50, when it's letting you know that, hey, who gonna turn this thing back? Right? The Lord said he opened up his armory. So he opened up his army to the nation. He giving these weapons to the nation. He's giving these nations understanding. Okay, so it says, let's get back what he said. It says the missile could also carry conventional and nuclear payloads and travel up to several thousand kilometers. Okay, now let's keep reading. According to Putin, the arsonist strike on Ukraine was a response to the country's decision to use Western supplied long-range missiles for attacks deep into Russia. So it's kind of let you know, hey man, this is what we're doing. That's the type of time they're on. Okay, so I want to kind of like just bring that out and then show y'all through the scriptures, like, hey, they can't stop what's to come. They can't stop what's to come. Now, I want to read this too. This verse 29 on Jeremiah 50. It says, call together the archers against Babylon, all ye that bend the bow, camp against it, and round about, let none thereof escape. So these mighty archers, that's going to be the missiles. The modern day archers is the missiles. That's what it is, these missiles. And they just said that this thing got nuclear capability. They can send nuclear payloads. So we talking about missiles that nobody can stop, and they sending nukes. That's destruction, and that's within minutes, just like that. I said this missile can reach its target within minutes. It goes to Mach 10. Let's see what is how fast is Mach 10. Let's just read how fast is Mach 10, because Putin said it could go to Mach 10. No, he could just be talking, but he said it's going to Mach 10. Let's see how fast is Mach 10. How fast is Mach 10? There you go. Dang, it hurt. It's hurt. It says about 7,600 miles per hour. For an aircraft to hit Mach 10, it will need to travel about 7,600 miles per hour. This is 10 times the speed of sound. Whew. So they're saying this missile can go up to 10 times faster than the speed of sound. That's insane. That's insane. So hey, that's what it is. What it is. So let me go to this next thing that I was gonna hopping in on. Was you ready, King? You want to go ahead? I can't hear you.
I said, yeah, Con, I'm ready. I was just letting you do your thing, bro.
Con, I was just get one more article, and then I'm gonna let you have King.
Con.
Yeah, just one more. So y'all can see that, we bring out these current events and letting y'all know that, there's different things that's going on. Now, this right here, now this news site, this is for those that don't know, right? This is end time headline. So I just want to bring out a couple of things that's been going on. So why you have this thing that's going on with Russia creating the Orshnik thing we just talked about. It says Trump orders 2 nuclear submarines to be moved after highly provocative comments from ex-Russian president. So now Trump is putting into play 2 submarines, 2 nuclear submarines. Okay, keep track of that. Right. This is another thing. I'm just jumping, just getting a quick little, just to kind of let y'all know real fast. It says extreme weather. So you got this going on. You got extreme weather been going on. Torrential rainfall and flash flooding slam mid-Atlantic and Northeast. So when you read it, I don't know if y'all can see it, it says torrential rainfall and flash flooding slammed the mid-Atlantic and Northeast Thursday, wreaking havoc along Interstate 95 corridor and leaving a young man in Maryland unalive. So it's things going on, not just things involving war. It's things going on in aspects of extreme weather. It says swarm of earthquakes rattle Southern California's Inland Empire. So not only do you got this thing going on with Putin, uh, Trump sending nuclear subs on the go. Then you got extreme weather with the rain, flash flooding. You got earthquakes rattling South California, and you got one last thing I'm gonna bring out. It says Tampa hits 100 degrees for the first time in recorded history. So the first time in recorded history, right? You got Tampa getting hit with 100 degrees. So it's a lot going on Earth that falls in the category of extreme weather. So it's a lot going on in the Earth. And then I said I was gonna be my last thing I want to bring, but it's gonna be the last thing. All right, this is law. This falls in the category of lawlessness. I like how they categorize this. It's going to lawlessness. Female NYPD officer unalived among 5 that got bang bang pew pew in New York City. Gunman unalived at Blackstone building. So you got gunmen in New York City, heat records in Tampa, floods in the Northeast, earthquakes in all kind of places. So there's a lot going on. But you got it, King.
Con. So all praise to the Most High, brother, showing some good astounding current events on certain things people might not know or whatnot. So what brings us here today, man? We doing a topic today on the sower and the soil, facing when the seed get planted. You know what I'm saying, the brothers and sisters. Where does your seed land? When a brother dishes out the seed to you, where does that seed land, right? So that's gonna be the topic, man. Most high willing, brothers and sisters, stick around. It's gonna be a good one, and it's something to reflect on. You know what I'm saying? What foundation is your seed being sown and grown and rooted up in? You know what I'm saying? So before I get that, of course, I want to show some history, right? Because I want to show that, you know what I'm saying, if it's people who still stagnant on the fence and still wondering who the Israelites are, and if we are indeed the Israelites, right now, we're gonna bring out irrefutable proof, right? We're gonna bring out irrefutable proof. You know what I'm saying? Watch this. So we're gonna go here first. Jeremiah 6. All right, so we're gonna read this first, King. If you can you read that for me?
Jeremiah 6:16.
Con. You see
Thus
it?
said, I see it.
All right.
Is it a way that you can like bring the screen, like make that full screen, like the whole thing your full screen? Con. Jeremiah 6:16. It says, "Thus said the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye should find rest for your souls.
Right.
But they said, we will not walk therein."
So the Most High is asking us, telling us to ask for the old paths. We want to know what happened back then, right? So with that, this is what we have to do, man. We have to be willing to do the dirty work. You know what I'm saying? Because what's happening in the last days is a lot of the things that we didn't know growing up is being revealed, right? A lot of things that we didn't know at one point is being revealed, and it's being revealed at a rapid rate. You know what I'm saying? Read this, King. You know what I'm saying? Psalms 85 and verse number 11.
The book of Psalms, chapter 85, verse 11. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven.
Right. So the truth is springing forth out of the earth, right? The Lord is raining down wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to the Israelites from the heavens. And righteousness is looking down on those who receiving it, right? So let's dive into this history, man. I ain't gonna pull too many precepts on that. We're gonna get straight to the meat and potatoes, man. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get straight into the meat and potatoes. So we're gonna go to some history. We're gonna go to some history right here, right? So this book that I'm gonna bring some of this stuff out is called The Lost Tribes and the Promised Land. This book right here. If you can see that, this book right here. The Lost Tribes and the Promised Land. So we're gonna go into this book, right? Can you see the book out?
Come.
All right. Can you see the words good and clear?
Come.
All right. I wanted to make sure the brothers and sisters can see this. It's some good information, right? I'm gonna increase it just a little bit more. All right. So now make sure y'all pay attention. And if you can get the book, get the book. All right. So Ryan, read what you got.
It says the Guinea trade,
The Guinea, yeah, the Guinea.
Guinea trade. If the Portuguese sea route to Prester John and the
Stop
treasures.
right there. So stop right there. It said to Prester John, right? So now we got to ask ourselves, who is Prester John? Because this came out of nowhere, right? We talking about the Guinea trade. It's going into the different slave trades, and at this time period is during the Middle Ages, right? It's time from the 500s all the way up into the 1500s. All this stuff is taking place right here, but it brought up a particular man by the name of Prester John, right? So let's read about this, right? Who is Prester John? Give me a second. Who is Prester John? Let's see. Yep. So they playing now. All right. So we type this in again, man. Give me a second. Prester John. And this is what they like to say, right? So read that. You can see it.
Come.
Yep.
It says Prester John.
Mm-hmm.
It says Prester John, Latin Presbyter Leon, Presbyter Leonis,
right?
was a mythical Christian patriarch.
So stop right there. So that word presbyter right there, it means priest. And so what his name was Priest John, right? But go ahead.
It says presbyter and king, stories popular in Europe in the 12th to the 17th centuries told of the Nestorian patriarch and king who was said to rule over a Christian nation, lost amid the pagans and Muslims in the Orient.
Right.
The accounts were often embellished with various tropes of medieval popular fantasy depicting Prester John as a descendant of the three magi,
right,
ruling a kingdom full of riches, marvels, and strange creatures.
Right. So now, as you can see right here, they paint this man Prester John, and this is why sometimes you got to pay close attention to Esau, right? So this picture of Prester John, right? This prominent man, they say he was a fairy tale, right? He was a mythical, right? This first off, this man went by the name of Priest John, but they changed it to Prester John or Prester John. And when you look right here, it's so synonymous that they wanted us to see a picture of a damn pedophile looking Edomite, right? But it's not about Esau today. It's not about Esau today. I just wanted to make that point. So now, when you go back over here where we was at in this book, right? It's going into Prester John. And let me show you another thing, right? Read, can you see this? Now, mind you, now, if anybody knows what the Catalan map is, during the Middle Ages, the Catalan map was a big deal. This was a big deal. If you was on this map, it was something significant about you, right? And when you look down, when you
Hey,
see
bro,
these, you say, what,
you
King?
make it full screen.
When you look at these different things on this map, I'm gonna zoom in. It shows you the world at that time, right? This man who made this map, we'll go into the history of that shortly, right? But what I want to show you is the world at that time. This is what this man, this young man, he painted everything that was known at that time of popular. Just like today, when you look at the world map, right? You got the continents on there. You got Africa, Europe, Asia. You know what I'm saying? You got America, North and South America, right? So on this map, you will see here, you see a black man at the very bottom, right? Look at that black man. You know what I'm saying? That's a black man, a black king at the bottom, right? And they got it, they mocking them, they making it look like a dog face. If you really look in on that, right? On this map, you can see a face, but it kind of look like an animal's face. And look at you, you see Esau face looking nice and well, right? So go back to this up here and read this article out. Read what they say in the annotation.
Annotation. Dated to the mid 15th century, this Catalan world map is over a meter in diameter on a sheet of vellum, high quality parchment made of calfskin. Unlike many other surviving charts, this was not meant for practical navigation, though it was based on such nautical charts. Unlike most previous medieval maps,
Right.
Jerusalem is not at the center, though the crusading ethos remains, as the center of the map is near the mythical land of Prester John.
So now the thing is so crazy about this. Why is it, if this is a mythical creature, a map that was a big deal during the medieval ages or the middle ages, right? Why is it that this man and his name was in the center of this map? Read on.
It says, rendered here as Prester Johann,
Yep.
whom the artist depicts between two branches of the upper Nile. See the inset image below the image of the main map.
Watch this.
Prester
Keep
John,
going.
Prester John was a mythical Christian king of the East.
So now stop. Well, you got to understand at this time, during the Middle Ages, prior to the Middle Ages, who were the Christians, right? Who were the Christians? We're gonna come out of this for a second. We gotta ask ourselves, man, who was the Christians? So now let's get this verse, right? Because a lot of times when you looking at history and when you hear these certain words, and in this land, our minds have been accustomed, you know what I'm saying? Our minds have become accustomed to just, you know what I'm saying, speaking from a point of, yeah, see, they were called Christians first, right? So read this out, read Acts 11, and I want you to read verse 25.
25, the book of Acts 11:25. Then departed Barnabas to Tarsus for to seek Saul.
Right.
And when he had found him, he brought him unto Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people
And
in
taught
the
much people, hold on, slow down. And taught much people. And now at this last part of this verse, I want you to read that nice and slow.
and the disciples were called Christians first
Go ahead.
in Antioch.
Read that again. And read it
And
nice
the
and slow.
and the disciples
And
were
the context at hand is the disciples of Yahushua, right? Or the disciples of Christ. Read.
called
They were
Christians
given this name. They were given this title. Read.
first in Antioch.
So in Antioch was the place where the prophets of Christ or Yahushua or the Messiah, they were called Christians first in Antioch. So this was a name given to them. They didn't do what modern day Israelites do today, right? We have congregations or small churches, so we give a name to our church like we are the servants, right? That was a name we got that was inspired by. We wanted to serve, so we named ourselves the servants, right? So when you put us here, it would have said, and they called themselves the servants first in Antioch. But this was a title given to them. So it's showing you that, and Antioch, the apostles was called Christians first here. So I just wanted to make that a big point, right? So now Go back here and read that again where it says Prester John.
Prester John was a mythical Christian king of the East, variously located in Ethiopia or India, who Crusaders hoped would soon join in a fight against Islam.
So now what does that tell you? If he was a so-called mythical Christian, what was this man's descendant? What would he be a descendant of during this time? His nationality would likely have to be of Israelite descent, right? Because he carrying the title of a Christian, right? So now let's go back and let's deal with it. All right, I got my notes here, so just bear with me because I want to show you this, right? Give me a second. Give me a second. All right. Can you see that, King?
Yeah, which one read? The
Right.
note or the highlight part.
So, yep, I want you to read the highlighted parts.
These Hellenistic romancers preserved the ideal of the noble Ethiopian against an advancing wave of color prejudice by emphasizing every one of his traits but blackness.
Right.
The
So the hold on. So when you read in this, right, for comprehension, those Hellenistic romancers preserved the ideal of the noble Ethiopian. So he lived in the land of Ethiopia, right? And it said against advancing wave of color prejudice. So the same way when you look at our forefathers, they had prejudice against their skin complexion, right? So now this same man or this mythical figure is in the same sense being prejudiced against his skin color. But keep reading.
the result was a view of him that was to be revived in the era of Prester John. He was black,
He
to be
was,
sure,
but how long? He was black to be sure. So they knew that this man was a black man, right? But read on.
but somehow his color was invisible.
Now wait a second here. Now, when we go back to what we just went to, I showed you a picture, and the picture they had for Prester John was a picture of who? A big fat snobby Edomite, right? Keep going.
As in the Catalan Atlas, his features were off the edge of the map of the Christian consciousness.
Right.
So also was his Jewish ancestry invisible.
So it said his what?
His Jewish ancestry invisible.
So remember, they called him a Christian, and his name was Prester John or Presbyter Johanan or Priest John, right? Go ahead.
Buried deep in legend, Prester John was a
Right.
symbol of racial and religious toleration within Christianity's complex heritage, but ultimately he would not be able to withstand the assaults of new outbursts of prejudice directed against both the eastern and the southern components. Do you
Of
read
his
that?
identity. Keep
Of
going.
his identity. Even in his simpler Hellenistic form, the noble Ethiopian had proved unable to withstand the challenge of a demonic black image coming up from farther south.
Keep going.
So much the more vulnerable then would the complex figure of Prester John be in an era when Christian fanaticism against the Jew came together with a loathing of the waves of black captives that began rolling off those very Portuguese ships that had gone searching for Prester John in the first place.
So now stop it right here. What is this telling us, man? So during this time in the world where slavery was popping off at the rate, there was a man by the name of Prester John or Priest Johanan, right? This man had to be a prominent figure who they say was made up. Is not true, right? But at the same time, this man's so-called made up figure had enough influence on the world to be a part of the Catalan map and also had the Portuguese at this time looking for him, right? Because at this time, we're going to show a different thing before we get into this, but I want to show history, right? So when you look into this, right, when you look into this, this is letting you know that, watch this, it's letting you know that not only was our forefathers black men, but also they always, even during the Middle Ages time when Esau was starting to come back to life, right? They were starting the Renaissance revive, right? Look at still how they try to cover up certain history when it comes to black people, right? Keep reading on that, King. The ancient image.
The ancient image of the noble Ethiopian was to leave its traces upon the memory, but for the moment at least, it is Petronius and worse who become our authors once again.
Right. So now I'm gonna go to another article real quick. I'm gonna go to another article real quick. Give me a second. Give me a second. Let me go back somewhat. Give me just a second. It popped off here, Salaki. All right. Nope. We already read that. Jewish ancestry. I want to show you what tribe this man came from, right? Let me show you what tribe he came from. Prester John. All right. So first, read that part right here where you see the little highlighted version there. But up at the top of that where it say, if there is indeed.
Okay. If there is
No. On
indeed
top of that, the paragraph on top of that, there it is. Let me
Con,
highlight it real quick. Yeah, read that right there.
this could be a direct forebear of Prester John. Here is a people of virtually priestly status living across the Sabbatation from some of the lost tribes of Israel
Mm-hmm.
in a condition of unique sanctitude in bearing either itself or in the person of its leader the name Janus. Could this have been adapted into the Latin form Johannes?
Right.
Isn't Prester a likely notion to have emerged out of the legend of a tribe of Levites?
Of Levi. So this is why his name was Priest John or Prester John or Priest Giannis, because this man was an Israelite from the tribe of Levi during this time, and during the Dark Ages and the Middle Ages. This was a man raging war against the oppression against our people, right? So I just wanted to keep that in mind. And people might, they might say, oh, this really don't prove nothing. What are you saying? What are you saying, right? Watch this. I got some more for you. I got some more for you. So watch this. And now we're going to go here. So we talk about the Portuguese shit, and we're gonna get back to them dusty Portuguese, right? But read this right here. Because I want to show you throughout the Bible and throughout history, and if you want to prove who the Israelites are, right? Track their track record on the history of their slavery and watch what the author tells us in this book about certain slaves, right? But read that, King.
The Guinea trade. If the Portuguese sea route to Prester John and the treasures of the Indies proved to be long, the consolations of the Guinea trade were meanwhile to be found on the way. This was something well known to Portugal's Carthaginian forebears, of whom Herodotus wrote.
Right. So we ain't gonna read too much on that. We want to get straight to the point, right? Watch this. You know what I'm saying? Read that other next highlighted part.
Con. In the Middle Ages,
So we still in the Middle Ages. Read.
the Sahara served the Arabs of North Africa as the Western Ocean had served the Carthaginians,
Right.
in the tradition of a flourishing trade with Guinea from the north was thereby continued.
Keep reading. Read on.
The main channel for the overland route was through the Atlas Mountains at
Sejamasa.
Sijmasa, alongside which the inscription on the Catalan map reads,
Along on the what?
on the Catalan map reads.
So it's synonymous that everything that history details at this time traces back to the Catalan map during the Dark Ages, right? So what we're showing you is if it made the Catalan app, it was a big deal and there was some proof behind it. Esau not finna waste their time and put no mythical thing on something that's historical, right? But keep going.
Through this pass go the merchants who entered into the land of the blacks of Guinea,
If the who?
of the blacks of Guinea.
So, right, I want to show you another thing. When you come to the historical facts of the oppression and the slavery and the colonizing going on during the Dark Ages or the Middle Ages or the medieval age or the medieval time, you got to understand there was a difference between the African tribes and the black people over there, or the quote unquote Israelites. They always distinguished us and called us either by blacks in history or Christians or Jews. This is at this time, right? Keep going.
The
I'm gonna
trade,
prove it, right?
the trade was a source of prosperity for Muslim merchants on the Barbary coast, for Jewish merchants at Shizamasa,
Right,
and even for the Christian merchants on the Iberian Peninsula,
right.
who were the eventual recipients of. I can't even see that. It's on your name in a way. If you don't know, you can move it up a little bit.
Let me see. You talking about at the top?
Nah, well, at the bottom, the last sentence, your name kind of in the last sentence.
All right, it says the who were the eventual recipients of some of his benefits, which included not only gold but ivory, Malguta peppers, and slaves. Now you can see the other part, right?
Okay.
All right, so now read that for me.
Slaves may not yet have been part of the Guinea trade when the Carthaginians,
Carthage.
Carthaginians passed it on to their successors, we do not know.
Watch this.
But it is certain that slaves were among the commodities being obtained by the Arabs of Guinea
In
by
Guinea.
the in Guinea by the time Portuguese ships began to outflank them there in the 15th century.
Come on.
Indeed, it is possible to say that Negro slavery in the modern Western world is an Arab legacy.
It is a what?
It's an Arab legacy.
Right. So keep going. It's more on this I want you to see. Keep going.
For though chattel slavery had continued to exist in the Christian countries of the Mediterranean,
Watch this.
as in the Arab countries,
Right.
there, right down to Prince Henry's time, and long after it had vanished in Northern Europe,
Right.
black slavery had declined in them after the Roman period, and was to be found only in the Muslim world until the 13th century.
Until the 13th century. Read on. Watch this.
From then on, small numbers of black slaves began appearing in Christian Iberia as a direct result of the Moorish presence on the peninsula.
So now, when you think about the Israelite, the captivities or the slaveries of the Israelites, right? You will always know and understand that the world dominant powers at that time are always the ones who enslaved the Israelite. So when we read this next paragraph, right? This is why we read all this, because I want to show you the Bible tells you, blessed are they that readeth, right? And take heed to the words of prophecy. Not only do you have to read prophecy, you got to go read the history in the world, because that's what Esau and most of the people in the world do. They put their history and the things that happen in books or in articles and so on and so forth. But go ahead, read this next article and read it slow, because I don't want it to be missed what's about to be said here. Read that.
This does not mean that the slaves of medieval Islam had only been black.
Right, because you had Northern Kingdom a part of that ship as well, but keep going.
They were of many complexions and from a wide variety of countries, as in Greco-Roman antiquity.
And in the Greco-Roman period, keep that in mind.
But since the days of the Persian Empire, at least
So hold on, read that part again. You ain't got to read it as slow, but read that part again. That
but since the days of the Persian Empire, at least the Middle East had always had an especially large number of blacks amongst its slaves.
read that part again. But since the days of what?
But since the days of the Persian Empire, at least the Middle East had always had an especially large number of blacks among its slaves.
Mm-hmm.
And the Arabs had inherited this tradition.
And the what? Hold on, bro. Hold on now. So now, hold on. Before we keep reading, now keep reading, bro. We're gonna get the Bible after this, bro. What I'm about to show you is these scholars know who you are since the times of the Persian Empire, right? Even in the Greco-Roman antiquity, in the Middle East. What is the Middle East? When you think about it, what is the Middle East? The Middle East is Israel, the land of Israel, the land of Palestine, right? All these different areas over there. He's letting you know that, and since heck was a puppy and history was being recorded, there have always been a large number of blacks among slaves throughout the Persian Empire and all the countries after that. And what you just read, it said the Arabs did what?
And the Arabs had inherited this tradition. By the 8th century, the image of the Negro in the Arab imagination was mainly that of a slave.
Damn. Damn. Will I be down? What the dude from wrestling used to say, will I be down? Keep going.
Jahiz of Basra, an Arab writer of that epoch, who was perhaps
Partly.
partly
Yep.
Negro himself, defended blacks against accusations of low intelligence by saying that since most Arabs knew them only as slaves, proper conditions of making such a judgment did not exist.
Mm-hmm.
His native Basra in Iraq
That's it
became
on
the
that. So that's it on that. Let's get the Bible, bro, because it's pissing me off. So I want you to pay attention to something here, right? These people said, bro, since the time of the Greco-Roman antiquity, right? From the Greco-Roman antiquity all the way up into the Persian Empire, what? What is he saying? What is they saying? Right? Watch this. Watch this. Let's read this, bro, in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, right? Let me see where I want to start at, man. All right. Now watch this. Read this, bro. Jeremiah 2:14. I'm just gonna get straight to the point, man.
the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 14. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled?
So why did Jeremiah pose this question, right? Watch this. Keep reading. Verse 15.
The young lions roared upon him and yelled, and they made his land waste. His cities are burnt without inhabitant.
Right. So when you think about what the prophet is saying here, and throughout time and history, the Israelites have always been known to the point of being in slavery after slavery. They land getting destroyed by this nation. They land being destroyed by that nation, right? Watch this. Watch this. Let's read what our forefather had to say during the time of the Maccabees, man. Watch this. Let's read this. Read that right there. Right. Read First Maccabees 2 and verse number 10. Now, verse 8.
Book of Second Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 8. Her temple is become as a man without glory.
So our temple has become as a man without glory. When you look at our temple during the time when we was in slavery, you know what I'm saying? It was nothing. It was burnt down. The heathen was sacrificing unclean animals on it. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have the priests in there maintaining it, right? Read.
Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity.
Right.
Her infants are slain in the streets.
Right.
Her young men with the sword of the enemy.
Right.
What nation have not had a part in her kingdom.
So what this author is writing about, he's stating the fact. It since the time of the Greco-Roman antiquity and the Persian Empire, dating back to the Persian Empire, mainly blacks have always been in slavery on that side of the world, right? So who enslaved us before the Persians? You had the Babylonians, you had the Egyptians, right? So you got to think about this, right? Keep reading on that, King.
It says, "What nation have had not a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?"
So every nation have had in on that, right? So this person is on to something. This person has to know something to come out and say something of that magnitude, right? You got to know something, bro. You hip to something that we not hip to, right? So now watch this. Now watch this. I'm gonna bring up one more book, and you know, is after that it's a wrap. It's a done data, right? I'm gonna bring up one more book, and after that it is a done data. We got to get into the topic at hand, right? Watch this. Give me a second. Give me a second. Let me find what I want. Give me a second. No, this is the wrong. This is my other book. This is where the meat and potatoes at. You got something to say though, brother? You can if you want to make a point.
I just, just to add to it, man, you see how, how these historians, they really be knowing what be going on, but it takes the niche of our people to actually go and read, pop open the book and actually read for yourself. Don't go by what your oppressors is telling you, man. The information is out here, right? And we're bringing this information out and bringing it to you. What you gotta do?
All right. All right. So now watch this. I want you to read. All right. So give me a second. All right, we're gonna go here. So now I want you to read this right here, right? Give me a second. Damn. All right. Read that right there.
Okay,
Will you see highlighted, Baba Kashaw?
gotcha. Despite the practice of enslaving Africans was made illegal in most of the Western world in the 19th century, in the Middle East, however, under the Muslim Ottoman Empire, it persisted in the area later to be called Palestine.
Right. Keep
There
going.
was an apartheid society of slave owners, although Africans have been in Palestine for centuries. Most people know little about this migration. For centuries,
All right. So that's it
under
on
the
that. That's it on that. Right. Watch this. So remember what we just read over there, right? So I want you to read this, King Salaki. I ain't trying to take that out, but I gotta bring this out, right? Because I want to bring the comparison, right? So now watch this. Read right there what I got highlighted.
Khan, many blacks compare their enslavement in the American South to that of the Jews in
Go
ancient
ahead.
Egypt, aligning with them in religious beliefs expressed in black spirituals such as Go
Right.
Down Moses. The desire for an African American exodus inspired the recognition
And
of
who?
Zion in the recognition of
Uh-huh.
Zion in the names of many
Right.
black churches. Black nationalists of the 1800s used the Zionist movement as a mold for their own back to
Back
Africa
to Africa,
movement.
but where did they really want to go back to? They really want to go back to their homeland, right? They want to go back to our homeland, right? So now, watch this. Read this part at the bottom. Read this part at the bottom. I'm just showing this history. We about to be ready to get into it. Read this part,
The alliance of black
right?
and Jew. Let us look at the history of black and Jewish relations in America. Since ancient times, blacks and Jews have identified with each other's
What
life
is that saying, King?
experiences.
What is that saying? Watch this. Keep reading. Both
Both
The
have
real
in
Jews and the blacks in America have what?
both have endured racism and enslavement on a
So
massive
now
scale.
what we just read is Bible prophecy. It's proving what we just read, right? This thing is proving what we just read, right? So you know what I'm saying? I just want to make a point on that, right? That you got to deal with that, right? So now what are we showing? We are showing that the Bible is to us, about us, and for us, right? So we must come back to that. You got anything before we go and get into the topic at hand? Because I know we just hit these people with a lot of information.
God,
All
you
right,
got it. You got it.
come. All right, so now we're gonna get into this thing, right? We're gonna get into this, bro. Let's go to the book of Mark, chapter 4. We're gonna get into the book of Mark, chapter 4. So hold on, let me stop real quick, King. If so, real quick before I get started on this, just speak on real quick. I gotta do something real quick.
I got you, King. So with that being said, though, you know, we seeing all these different things and how this relate to the Bible and how all these different historical documents and articles they relate together, are entwined together, and let you know, man, the truth is coming out in these last days, right? And the truth also is going to set you free to understand who we are as a people and as a nation, right? And understanding that is important and imperative why we need to come back to our heritage, right? And we see that our people are waking up in these last days. I just want to get a well, I don't know if I can show. Probably can. Let me show my screen real fast. To the classic precept that we always bring out on the highways and byways. Romans 13:11. All right, it says this. It says, in that knowing this a time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. Right? So it's peak timing to awake out of sleep, and that's really realizing who you are, right? What we got to do to serve our Lord as we supposed to. You see what it was saying. It was saying it's really putting out there that we are the people that's been enslaved, right? These other nations have always had us in slavery, right? And why? Why did that book mention, right, the Greco-Roman time period antiquity, right? Why did it mention the Arabs having us in captivity? All they know of us is just being slaves. Why? Why? Because simply the so-called blacks, Hispanic, and Native Americans, being God's chosen people, revoked the law, statutes, and commandments. And that was a major curse that the Lord placed on his people for their disobedience. And we see throughout history how we are the people that relate to that. Right? It said they've been mad, they've been known for being slaves, right? For hundreds of years, not just decades, but hundreds of years, our people have been enslaved, going into captivity, coming out of captivity, going into captivity and coming out. Why? Simply just off our disobedience. And that's you got to you saying something?
No. You good? I'm listening.
Oh, okay, come. So with that being said, you know, that's why you do have the men of the Lord, right? And many different, not even just the men of the Lord, but the Lord, he's put his spirit in these men to present this information to his people so they can return, so they can wake up in these last days. Right? It says, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. So now it's our salvation near. And when you look at the first part we brought out in the beginning of the passage, I mean not the passage, but the lesson, we was going through all these different things, these different prophecies that's going on in the earth, that's going on in front of our eyes, showing you we're living the last days, right? But not only that, we came in, you brought some history, so now you can tie this together, saying, well, dang, being that, hey, we see all these things going on, we see through these different articles and different books that we are his people, we the God chosen people, the Israelites, right? What do we need to be doing? How can we move forward as a nation? And that's keeping God's laws, because that's what always set us back. And it says near as our far now it's our salvation nearer than we believe. For the night is far spent. Right, that's all I want to bring on that. But I'm gonna show you this in Revelation, right? 14, not really 14, but Revelation 18. Because us waking up, right, is really realizing who he is. In a month's waking up, Revelation 18:4 is saying, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. So a month or so waking up, that's you coming out of Babylon. separating yourself from the rest of the world, right? Getting, having a basically changing yourself, changing your mind, instead of being just like the rest of the world, because the rest of the world is going to be soon to be destroyed, right? The Israelites are coming into rulership and come back to their heritage, but in order for you to be a part of that, you gotta do your part, right? Work out your own salvation
Right.
with fear and trembling, right?
Come. Well said, brother. Well said. So, all right, we're gonna get into this.
Oh, I'm gonna
You
stop.
good? You good? We're gonna go and get into this, man. All right, so we're going into it, man. You know what I'm saying? So the topic at hand today is the parable of the sower and the soils, right? So why are we going into this? When you look at the world today, a lot of us be disturbed, and sometimes, you know, it's true, we can be upset with the way things go and in what they call the Israelite community or being the Israelite, right? So when you read this, it's gonna give a synopsis and an analogy on 4 different type of grounds for Israelites. So, you know what I'm saying? We're going to deal with it through the spirit. We're going to break it down and we're going to show that this is not just talking about when you first hear the truth. This is a record and a parable letting you know that when a seed is planted into a person, right? How that seed goes down, does it stay down, right? When that seed goes into soil, does it root up, get nurtured with the water, with the sunlight, and grows into something great? Or does your seed or your spirit, you know what I'm saying, wither away? Or does your spirit, you know what I'm saying, kind of grow on thorny grounds, and you know what I'm saying, as time go along, you kind of buckle away and fall out this truth? So through the spirit and grace of the Most High, we're gonna deal with that. But man, you can read that out from the beginning.
It's the book of Mark, chapter 4 and verse 1. And he began again to teach by
Right,
the seaside, and there was gathered unto him a
right,
great multitude, so that he entered into a ship and sat in the sea, and the whole multitude was by the sea
right.
on the land. And he taught them many things by parables, and said unto them
So
in
stop
his
right there.
doctrine.
So first and foremost, right? So it said that Yahushua began to teach by the seaside, right? And there was gathered a great multitude under him, right? So he had to hop into a ship. And once he hopped into the ship, he ended up what? Having to go by the seaside and teach these people, read. So now, before you get there, right? Let's get this right here real quick. Let's get the book of Numbers, chapter 24. Because I want to show you something, right? Let me show something real quick. And I think I want that. All right. So, you know what I'm saying? Read this, King.
Come on, 24
5.
and 6 or 5. Numbers 24 and 5. How goodly are thy tents,
Mhm.
O Jacob, and thy
Right.
tabernacles, O Israel. As the valleys are they
Right.
spread forth, as gardens
As
by
what?
the riverside, as gardens
So
by
when
the
you think about
riverside.
the crowd that Yahushua had, he had a crowd of people gathered around him by the seaside, right? Or by the riverside, however you want to look at, by a shore of water. And he had people lower up to him, right, to hear the word. And this is what made him give that parable. So now when you look at the parable that he's about to go into, put yourself in a moment of a garden. What garden is he about? He's by his own garden. He's by the Israelites, right? Read on.
Con. And it says, as the trees of line aloes, which the
Right?
Lord hath planted, and as cedar trees
And as
beside the
cedar
waters.
trees beside the waters, right? Keep going.
He shall pour the water out of his buckets, and his seed shall
And
be
his
in
what?
many waters. And his seed shall
So
be in
how is
many
the
waters.
seed gonna be in many waters? Because through the spirit on another fold level, right? We know what this is talking about. It's future prophecy, right? But how is the seed of the Lord gonna be in many waters? Because when you think about slavery, our people was gonna be scattered as slaves throughout the 4 corners of the earth, right? And so with that seed, what you see today prophetically happening is that what Israelites is waking up and planting seeds throughout the 4 corners of the earth, right? But so with that, we're gonna go to another precept, right? Let's go to this right here. All right. You know what I'm saying? Read that, King. We're gonna read all the way to verse number
The
3.
book of verse number 3. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate
So,
day
right, when
and
you even
night.
look at what the people gathered by the seaside, they had a delight in the law of the Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. They had a delight for the words that Yahweh Shah spoke, right? But keep reading.
And he shall be like a tree planted by the
So when we
rivers of
seeking after
water.
this knowledge and understanding coming from this Bible, the Bible tells us we will be like a tree planted by rivers of water. The same way these brothers and sisters during the time of Yahushua was standing by the seaside to hear him, and the multitude was so great and large, he had to get on a boat just to talk to everybody. Come on.
That bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also
Right?
shall not wither, and whatsoever he do
And whatever
shall
he do
prosper.
shall prosper. All right, so now let's go back and let's read verse 2.
Mark chapter 4, verse 2. And he taught them many things by parables, and said unto
So
them
he
in his
spoke many
doctrine.
things by parables. So when you open the Bible, what does it mean when it says a parable, right? What does it mean when it says a parable? Let's my bad. I meant to type this in. What does it mean when it says a parable, right? And what we like to do if brothers and sisters are new, I know some people, you know what I'm saying, who we've been teaching on the street, some of y'all brothers and sisters been tapping in, right? So I like to just act like it's new people on here that don't know, because we do know that some people do watch our videos who knew, right? So read this, Psalm 78, verse 1 and 2.
The book of Psalm 78, verse 1. Oh my, give ear, O my people, to my law. Incline your ears to the words
Right,
of my mouth. I will open my mouth
right.
in a parable. I will utter dark
Right.
sayings of
So
old.
one thing that was well known amongst our forefathers from the time up all the way here. Our forefathers always spoke in parables. The Bible is a Bible of similitudes, right? Real quick, let me get the book of Psalms 49 and verse number 4. All right. So watch this. Read that, King. I got it on the screen. Yeah.
The book of Psalms, chapter 49, verse 4. I will incline my ear to a parable. I will open my dark
I will
saying
open
upon
my
the
dark
heart.
sand upon the heart, right? Watch this. So now we're gonna get one more. We're gonna get one more. I read this, the book of Proverbs 1 and 1.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 1,
Uh-huh.
verse 1. The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David,
Read.
king of Israel. To know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of
Right.
understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment,
Read.
and equity, to give subtlety to
Right.
the simple, to the young man knowledge
Right.
and discretion. As a
He
wise
said a
man will
wise
hear,
man will
and
hear. So those that are wise are those that keep the commandments of the Most High God, right? So a wise man will hear certain things. Read on.
a wise man will hear and will
And he will
increase
increase
learning.
learning because he will continue to research whatever it is he's going over. Read on.
And a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. To
Right?
understand a proverb in the interpretation, the words of the wise in
And
their
they're
dark
dark sayings. So
sayings.
this type of brother will be able to understand that, right? So now let's go into this. So the Lord is about to go into a parable, right? He's about to go into a parable. So first, before we go into this, I want to get up a definition real quick. I be having some important tabs, man. I don't be want to. I don't be want to sacrifice some of my tabs.
I know that. I know that
Right. So now let's look
feeling.
up this definition for sower. Right. Yep. All right. So let's read that. Read the first one. Oh, now you can say
Someone or
read from the top
something
to the
that
bottom.
sows.
I ain't trying to say that. Come on.
Okay, it says a person who plants seed. A sower looking forward to seed catalogs might be glad this
No, you
Christmas.
got to read that. Just the
Let's not go.
definitions.
A machine or a tool for
Third
planting
one. Now
seed.
read C.
A, per, a person or thing that promotes the
He
spread of
said a
something.
person or a thing that promotes the spread of something, right? So now we're gonna go to another one, right? So now the sower, we're going into this thing about the sower, right? About a sower, a person that is a sowing, right? So now, all right, the sower, let's get the synonyms for a sower. So we can understand everything what's being told to us in this parable from our heaven man to our king, right? All right. So now let's look up the synonyms for sower. What does those say, King?
God, it says grower,
Laborer,
laborer, peasant, producer,
go down.
rancher, reaper, agriculturalist,
Agriculturalist, read.
agriculturist, agronomist, breeder, crop harvester, homesteader, cropper, cultivator,
Feeder,
feeder,
gardener,
gardener, gleaner, horticulturist, planter, plower, sharecropper, tender, tiller,
right? And
billion.
what's this last one right here? It says a hired hand, right? So one of the main things we want to harp on is laborer, an agriculturalist, a cultivator, a feeder, a gardener, a planter. You know what I'm saying? A harvester. These are the words that's synonymous for this word sower. So we're gonna go back and now let's read this.
Verse number 3. It says, hearken, behold, there went out a sower to sow. And it came to pass, as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and the fowls of the air came and
Right. So he's
devoured it
giving an
up.
analogy, right? He's giving an agricultural parable. He's giving an agricultural parable. Go ahead.
And some fell on stony ground where it
Where
had
it
not
had
much
not
earth,
much earth, right? So it was a stony ground that fell, that didn't have a lot of earth. When they say earth, it's referring to dirt. Go ahead.
and immediately it sprang up, because it had no depth of earth. But when the sun was up, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it
Go
withered
ahead. Read through
away.
it. You good.
Okay. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it
Uh-huh.
yielded no fruit. And other fell on good ground, and did yield fruit that sprang up and increased, and brought forth some 30, and some 60, and
Uh-huh.
some 100. And he said unto them, he that have ears to hear,
So a
let
lot
him
of people,
hear.
when they read this parable, even back then, a lot of them wouldn't understand it. They weren't gonna understand what he was saying. Go ahead.
And when he was alone, they that were about him with the 12 asked of him
Mm-hmm.
the parable. And he said unto them, unto you it is given to know the mystery of the kingdom of God, but unto them that are without, all these things are
Right.
done in parables, that seeing they may see and not perceive, and hearing they may hear and not understand, lest at any time they should be converted and their sin should be
Right. So now let's
forgiven.
break down this parable. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can I say something, King? That's the same language that is spoken in Isaiah chapter
Right.
6, verse 9. I just want to say that, but that's the same language that they said that though. But verse
Yeah.
13.
Hold on. Let me get it back right. I was finna pull that precept for you, but we go ahead. We already you quoted it now, but go ahead.
It says, and he said unto them, know ye not this parable? And how then will ye
So he's
know
telling
all
them, if you
parables?
can't discern what I'm saying through this parable, how you gonna know all the other parables that I dish out? Because Yahweh Shai spoke with nothing but parables. And when you understanding his parables, it was always a deeper message behind it, right? But at the time, the apostles wouldn't understand it. But when you read like with Luke 24 and 44 on down, they finally got to understand what he was saying and what he was writing about. But let's deal with this, right? Verse 14.
Verse 14. The sower soweth the
Right? It
word,
said the sower soweth the
and
word. So the sower is a person that soweth the word, right? So I want to go to this. Let me get some precepts on that. I want to show you a certain precepts of different examples of people that is sowing the word. That's sowing the word. And then I get the right. Let me see. I want this. All right. So let's read this, King. If you can see that good, 1 Corinthians 3:9.
The book of First
What the
Corinthians 3 and
hell?
9. Yeah.
All right, read that.
Oh, right. Okay. For we are laborers together with God. Yea, are
Ye
God's
are God's
husbandry.
husbandry.
Yea, yeah, ye are God's husbandry. Ye are
Right.
God's building.
So another word for a sower is a laborer or a husbandry, right? A person of husbandry, right? Watch this. Now we're gonna get a couple more. We're gonna get a couple more on that, right? Let's get this real quick. Read this then. 2 Corinthians 6:1.
The book of 2 Corinthians 6 and 1. We then, as workers together with him, beseech you also that ye receive not the grace of God
So
in vain.
another one is workers. So you got laborers, husbandry, workers. All right. So now we're gonna get another one. We're gonna get another one real quick. We're gonna get another one. I just want to give you different examples of agriculture and Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, comparing the prophets of God to agriculturalists, workers, husbandry, right? All right. So let me get straight to the point for the sake of time. I read this second Ezra chapter 8, verse 40.
Second Esdras 8 and 40. Like as I have spoken now, so shall it come to pass. For
Now
the
read it right.
for as the husbandman
Husbandman. That's husbandman.
soweth. Oh, I got you. They got
Yeah,
a
you
U
know
in
how the
this one.
1611 writing is.
For as the husbandman soweth much seed upon the ground, and the
And
plants of
planted
many
many
trees,
trees.
and yet the thing that is sown good in his season cometh not up, neither doth all that is planted take root. Even so it even so is it of them that are sown in the world. They shall not
Right.
all
So
be
in this
saved.
form, it letting you know it's comparing us to a husbandman, right? A husbandman in a garden, like what we read earlier in Numbers 34, Numbers 24. It's liking us unto a garden. And this husbandman is sowing much seed in the ground. What ground is it talking about? The ground of the earth, right? And you plant seeds in the ground of Israel on a physical level. It's talking about the nation of Israel. And with many people, it likens us to trees. So Israel is likened to trees in the Bible, ground. But now I want to show you what the seed is and what's being sown is likened to in the Bible. Let's get this. Go to the next chapter over. Let's go to the. Give me a second. The next chapter over. All right, my phone is back at it. It's back at it. All right. So now read Second Ezra chapter 9 and verse number 17.
Verse 17. And he answered me, saying, like as the field is, so is
So the
also the
field and the
seed.
seed is
As
similar to each other. Read.
as the flowers be, such are the colors also. Such
The
as the
workman.
workman is, such
Right.
also
So
is
as
the
the
work.
workman, so is his work. Keep going.
And as the husbandman is himself, so is his
Right.
husbandry
So what
also.
is it talking about? It's talking about agriculture. You're talking about husbandman. It's talking about flowers. It's talking about trees. It's talking about the field where you are planting your crops and your vegetation at, right? So we have got tree comparison of trees. We've got comparisons to flowers. And it's letting you know as the workman is, so is his work. So whatever you sow into the ground and the way that you sow it and the time that you put in it, that's the same way whatever you reap into the ground, the product is going to be when it come back out, right? So now we read that part, right? And it's telling you now this is what the type of the part of the world is. So now let's read and jump down to verse number 31. Now
Verse
verse
number
30.
31. Verse 30. And thou spakest, saying, hear me, O Israel, and
And
mark
so
my
the topic
words.
at hand,
Thou
even
see,
during the time of Ezra, was Israel. Read.
thou
The
seed of
seed of
Jacob.
Jacob, read.
For behold, I sow my
And he
law
said
in
he
you,
sows his laws in the seed of Israel, in the vegetation in the vineyard of Israel. Read on.
and it shall bring fruit in you, and ye shall be honored
And
in
you
it
shall be
forever.
honored in it forever, right? But when you go into it, and we'll go back over here later. But God, keep reading on that. We're going to touch it now.
But our fathers, which received the law, kept it not, and observed not thy ordinances. And though the fruit of thy law did not perish, neither could it, for it
Read.
was thine. Yet they that received it perished, because they kept not the thing that was
So
sown
even when
in
we
them.
read this parable today, a lot of the people that you read about on the wayside, the thorn ground, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying, the ground, the stony ground, a lot of people not going to make the cut because they won't receive or keep the thing that is sown in them. Keep reading.
Come. And it says, and lo, it is a custom when the ground hath received seed, or the seed a ship, or any vessel meat or drink, that being perished wherein it was sown or
Read.
cast into, that thing also which was sown or cast therein or received
Right.
doth perish, it remaineth
Right.
not with us. But with us it have
So to
not
the
happened
elect, it
so.
does not happen so. So now, we're gonna get back to the point. We're gonna get back to the topic at hand. We're gonna go back to Mark 4. Let's go back to the book of Mark 4 and let's go to verse 15 now. So I mean verse 14 again, so we can get the context.
Con. Verse 14. The sower soweth the word, and these are they by the wayside, where the word is sown, but when they have heard, Satan cometh
Right?
immediately and taketh away the word that was sown
Right.
in
So
their
he said
hearts.
this first type of Israelite is this person who finds out who they are. They be taught the Bible, the law, statutes, and commandments. And when they heard, they entertaining it, right? They listening. But as time goes on, and after they hear this truth, it's like Satan cometh immediately and taketh the word away from them, right? Let's get a couple of precepts and examples on how certain Israelites will come into this thing, right? They'll hear about this truth, but when they consider certain things, they like, hold on, big dog. Yeah, I ain't finna do that right there now. So now watch this. Let's read this, King. Get the book. Let's read the book of Psalms, chapter 81 and verse 11.
The book of Psalms, chapter 81 and verse 11. But my people would not hearken to my voice, and Israel
Right?
would none of me. So I gave them up unto their own lust, means like it, unto their own heart's lust, and they walked in their
So
own
the reason
counsel.
why some people on another side of the scale won't hearken to it, and they won't hearken into the Lord, and they won't let that seed be fully sown in them, right? And they won't fully receive that you know what I'm saying, that seed in their ground, is because they too concerned about the lust of their own heart and the things that they have and the things they might have to let go of. A lot of them don't want to let go of that, right? So let's get another example on that. Let's get another example. Let's get this book. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 18, verse number 11. Read that, King.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 18 and verse 11. Now, therefore, go to, speak to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, thus saith the Lord, behold, I frame evil against you, and devise a device against you. Return ye now every one from his evil way, and make your ways and your
Mm-hmm.
doings good. And they said, there is no hope, but we will walk after our own devices, and we will every one do the imagination
And
of
we'll
his
do the
evil heart.
imagination of our own evil heart. So even when you look in the scriptures, there's always been a certain type of people when it come time to repent, right? They hear this word, they agree with everything we saying. They agree with everything. Yeah, big dog, you right. Esau is the devil the Bible speaks of. Yeah, the Bible do say his hair was like wool, feet like brass. We are the kings and queens on this earth, right? But this is what happens, right? This is when with these type of people, right, who hear the word and that seed get planted by the wayside, and Satan cometh immediately and take that seed away from them, right? Read this, Ezekiel 33 and verse 31. This is what these people really be doing. This is the movement that they be on. Read that.
And they come unto thee as the people cometh, and they sit before
And
thee as my
they sit
people.
before us as the people of God. They listening. That's right. What tribe you from? Judah. But meanwhile, they got, you know what I'm saying? They got their honey pack in their back pocket. They got the Swisher Sweets in their back pocket. They got the 3-5 they just got from Rico up the street in their back pocket. And you know what I'm saying? They taking heed to it. Read on.
And it says, they sit before thee as my people, and they hear thy words,
right?
But they will not do them.
So they hear the words of God coming out. They hear the commandments of God. But when it comes to putting this down, putting that down, let this go, let that go. Oh, you got a Edomite at the house. Oh, you got to let that go, sister. Or brother, you got to let him go. We say what?
It says, but they will not do them.
Right.
For with their mouth they show much love.
They receive the word with the love, with their mouth. They speaking about these things, right?
But their heart goeth after their covetousness.
And their heart goes after their covetousness, right? This is what God is saying about these people who the word hit them and it get landed by the wayside. It don't take nothing but a split second for the devil to come through, pick that thing up, and boom, it's gone that way, right? Keep going.
And lo, thou art unto them as a very lovely song.
And this all we are to the people who this word get hit on the wayside. This is why when we be at camp or brothers and sisters, if you on the streets teaching, don't get discouraged if you have somebody taking heed to the word. And when you start going into the laws, the commandments, the cross on their neck, the seizure bourgeois on their chain, they get ready to walk off and dip on you. Or you tell them put the blunt down, throw their black away, throw their cigarettes out. These are those people who your words are unto them as a lovely song, but they will not do them. Because why? They are stuck and addicted to the covetousness that they have been hip to. Keep going.
Of one that have a pleasant voice and can play well on an instrument, for they hear thy words, but they do them not.
And they hear the words, but they refuse to do them. That is an example of a person, you know what I'm saying, who takes heed, but hey, when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, the flesh and they lust, they be like, oh no, this is where you miss me at right here. Or when it come to Eve be agreeing with everything. Soon as you tell Eve to take them pants off, take them tights off, you can't wear this, you can't wear that. Now Eve looking around, she offended. Nah, that's a controlling. God don't mean that. God don't care about that. You see how thick I am? I'm not taking these pants off. You know what I'm saying? Read this, 1 John 2:15.
The book of 1 John 2 verse 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him.
Read.
For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world.
And this is what a lot of the people who the word goes to and it falls by the wayside be partaking victim of. The lust, the love for the world, and the lust there is in it. These are the things that keep them distracted and knock them off their pivot. You got something you want to bring on that, or I'll keep going?
Nah. I just want to say, that Jake be having that spirit, or that sound good. When they first hear it, it sound good. Like you was saying, like they nod their head, but when it comes to something where they really gotta change, they really gotta separate themselves from the world, then like you said, like, nah, I ain't with that. It's at first it really sounded good. We God chosen people, that sound good. We chosen, it sound good. And then when you actually gotta do something to change that, when they up out of there.
Right. Right. I'm gonna show you one more example. Right? Because this is a scripture that, you know what I'm saying, my brother Aliyah always pull out at camp. But a lot of time, a lot of people don't take heed to the story at hand with this story, right? This brother was a brother who would gladly receive Yahushua, right? And the teachings of Yahushua to bring him to the Father. But when it comes to certain attributes and certain things that he got to sacrifice, bro just went with it. So, right, read this real quick. Matthew 19:16. This is another example.
This is Matthew 19:16. And behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good thing shall I do that I might have eternal life?
Right?
And he said unto him, Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments.
Right. And at this point, for the sake of time, Yahushua said unto him, and he gives him the 10 commandments, right? But now watch this, jump down to verse 20.
Verse 20, the young man said unto him, All these things have I kept from my youth up. What lack I yet?
Right.
Yahushua said unto him, If thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions.
So what happened? That seed that was being planted by Yahushua landed by the wayside, because soon as it came time to sacrifice and give up for this truth, that young brother got offended and said, What? Give up what? Man, please. And went away very upset and dipped. This is what brothers and sisters go through when it comes into the seed being sown on what type of ground and on what type of soil, right? So now let's go back to this, King. Go ahead.
17?
Verse 16.
16. It says, And these are they likewise which are sown on stony ground, who then, when they have heard the word, immediately receive it with gladness.
So this is a brother or sister who come into this truth, right? So this first Israelite brother we just read about is the brother who first heard about this, but when it comes time to truly have to change and repent, he just can't do it. He can't do it. So he found the excuse. He found a way to shimmer off and go right back into the world awaiting judgment. But now we're dealing with another type of brother, right? Another type of spirit. And listen good, because for the sake of time, we're going to harping on this one for a minute. We're going to be on this one right here for a minute, right? Because I want you to understand that in this truth, this is a lot of brothers and sisters in this truth. And it could possibly be us if we don't stay humble and rooted in Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah. But keep going.
And have no roots in themselves, and so endure but for a time.
So this is that brother or that sister who come into this truth, and it says they seed is sown on a stony ground where it's a little earth there, but it's more rocks than anything. That root can't really sprout up. They don't have no root. They hear this truth and they receive it with gladness. I'm an Israelite. They go join the camp. They see certain brothers in that camp who post mighty scriptures, mighty verses. Brothers diving head first into the history, but the Bible says they don't have no root in themselves, right? So what gives us the root, right? Let's get a scripture on the root. Let's see what the root is. Watch this. Now, let's see the root that these brothers lack. And what is Yahweh saying? A lot of people going to hear this thing and they're going to be excited, but they're going to walk out the door because why? They foundation not built on the right thing. Read that. Colossians 2:5, bro.
But Colossians chapter 2, verse 5. For though I be absent in the flesh, yet I am with you in the spirit, joying in beholding your order in the steadfastness of your faith in Hamashiach. As ye have therefore received Hamashiach Yahushua the Lord, so walk ye in him.
So walk ye in Yahushua, right? So who is the context matter at hand? Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, right? Watch this.
Rooted.
What?
And rooted. And built up in him, established in the faith, as ye have been taught, abounding therein with thanksgiving.
Abounding therein with thanksgiving. So the root of it is who? Yahushua, right? So now let's go back and let's read that again. So read that again. Read Mark 4:16 one more again.
Book Mark chapter 4, verse 16. And these are they likewise which are sown on stony ground.
Right. So this is the brother, read.
Who, when they have heard the word, immediately receive it with gladness.
Certain brothers hear this truth, hear brothers quoting Bible verses off the hip. They get excited. I want to learn how to do that. I want to be able to do that. Sisters, hear this. Sister, hear that she's an Israelite. These black men take care of their kids. They be faithful to their wife. They might be endeavoring in polygamy, but you got certain brothers who might be on the monogamous tip on their side. Oh, I can come get me a husband. This man gonna take care of them kids. He commanded to. I get to be around a sisterhood, and it's a new thing. It's a new phase. Christianity wasn't for me. Islam wasn't for me. So this Israelite thing look like a movement. We get to dress our hair up a certain way, right? Watch this. Keep going.
Verse 17. And have no root in themselves.
But it's a certain brother and a certain sister who come into this truth and then establish their root with Yahushua. They loved everything that Sister Teresa was doing at the school. Brother so-and-so, they love how brother so-and-so bring out them precepts, right? They love how brother so-and-so can call out 20 precepts. They love how this brother he can chant 15 prayers in the Hebrew. But all these things was around. They never established a relationship eternally with Yahushua. Keep going.
And so endure but for a time.
And this is the brother and the sister who endure for a time, right? They endure for a time. They come into the school. They fellowship, and they come into feast days. They partaking in the cause. They come in the camp. They active. In the beginning, they on fire for it because what? They weren't doing it for Yahushua. Who was they doing it for? They was doing it to what? Please men around them, right? Give me go ahead real quick, and let me show you this, right? So it says, and have no root in themselves, but so endure for a time, right? Let me get a precept on that. Watch this. I'm gonna get a precept on that. You know what I'm saying? You only endure for a time. This is not a brother or a sister who sat down and, hey, am I really gonna do this? Right? Watch this. Read this, right? What that title say right there, King?
Discipleship tested.
So this is where you're going to get your discipleship tested. This is where you're going to find out if you rooted in Yahushua. Now read that.
It says, and there went great multitudes with him, and he turned and said unto them, if any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, in his own life also, he cannot be my disciple.
Read on.
And whosoever does not bear his cross and come after me,
come after me. Yahushua is including himself. You don't come after me. Your root is not from me. You cannot what?
Cannot be my disciple.
Read on.
For which of you intending to build a tower, sit not down first and count the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it.
What is he saying? Which of you which are you are intending to build? You are intending to build, but you haven't sat down and even what? Considered your foundation. You haven't even considered, if I start this work, if I start to labor, am I going to, do I got what it take to finish this, right? Could go in.
It says, less happily after he have laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him, saying,
right. So this brother who laid a foundation, but obviously the root of his foundation wasn't Yahushua. The root of her foundation wasn't Yahushua. The root of their foundation was what? Man pleasing, people pleasing, right? Trying to be seen of men, right? Coming in proud, boastful. You know what I'm saying? Brother come into the truth, mighty, slanging scriptures left and right. All the brother do is watch camp videos and watch somebody get utterly confounded, right? Brother just want to be like all the mighty brothers who they see. You know what I'm saying? And he want to be like all the mighty brothers they see. And now, you know what I'm saying? They boasting about how they cutting Christians at the job. They telling Esau you gonna be my slave. They telling brothers and sisters in the neighborhood, you wicked. I'm an Israelite. I'm gonna be in the kingdom. La 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 la. And the whole time they not sitting at home connecting and building in the faith of Yahushua, right? They barely even praying. The only reason why they praying in Hebrew because they want to be able to scream the Hebrew prayer, the Lord's prayer in Hebrew loud amongst the other brothers and sisters, and they want to let it be known that they know how to do that prayer, right? I read this. Read Sirach 129.
Book of Sirach, chapter 1, verse 29. Be not an hypocrite in the sight of men.
So this brother and sister that you read about whose seed fell on stony ground, this could be a brother or sister who came in glad to hear the truth, right? And received it, right? And on board with it, but they weren't rooted in Yahushua, right? They were rooted with the fact that, oh, it's men around that see me, right? They come into the feast, they hoping this brother be there, right? Oh, if this brother ain't teaching on the YouTube, they not watching it. They gonna log off. Right? If this brother not at camp, they not coming. Oh, hey, is Aliyah coming to Tabernacles? No, I don't think Aliyah gonna make. Well, if Aliyah ain't coming, I ain't going either. Then I want to hear him bring it out, right? And this brother right here, who the devil the Bible speak of, right? You watching brother so and so videos to learn how to cut Jehovah Witness, Baptists, Mormons, Muslims, but meanwhile you battling with pornography at the house. You and your wife battling, you know what I'm saying, putting the weed down. You know what I'm saying? You on the other hand battling, putting down the black and miles, right? And this is what you becoming. Read that again.
Come, be not an hypocrite in the sight of men, and take good heed what thou speakest.
Read.
It says, exalt not thyself, lest thy fall, and bring dishonor upon thy soul.
And this is what a lot of the brothers that fall on stony ground do. They exalt themselves before the time. They don't sit down and actually get rooted and truly change the things that need to be changed. They come in here excited, hitting the ground, running. Brother, just like in the track meet, you got to run 4 laps around. Soon as they shoot the gun in the air, brother balling. Boom. Yeah, they ain't got nothing on me. Yeah. And this thing, you know what happened, man? Brother started getting tired. Brother started weaving. And next thing you know, brother looking back, brother starting to hawk them. You know what I'm saying? This is the spirit that a lot of these brothers and sisters that will have, that when they let the seed fall on stony ground. Keep reading.
And so God discovered thy secrets and cast thee down in the midst of the congregation.
And you get cast down in the midst of the congregation. And like he said once, now watch this. Hold on. Finish reading this. Now, hold on. Now, before we even finish reading, let's go back over here so it can correlate, so they can see what we're saying here. Read this one more again over here, verse 17.
Verse 17, and have no root in themselves, and so endure but for a time.
Oh, they endure for a time because they man pleasing. They not focused on Yahushua. They focus on exalting themselves. I'm in this truth. Read.
Afterward, when affliction or persecution arises for the word's sake, immediately they are offended.
And they are what?
And they are offended.
They are immediately offended. So now, let's go back to this and read this again. Read verse 30 one more time.
Verse 30. Exalt not thyself, lest thou fall, and bring dishonor upon thy soul.
Right.
And so God discovered thy secrets and cast thee down in the midst of the congregation.
So when that persecution, you know what I'm saying, or affliction arise because there's some offenses, you know what I'm saying, the brother might rebuke you. You know what I'm saying? Brother might tell you, brother, quit trying to prove everything to me, bro. Every time somebody brings something out, you got to let it be known you doing it too. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, hey, bro. Hey, man, you did that, Aliyah. You gave brother precept. Here come Eli. Well, I gave the brother after that the precept too, bro. I gave him the 1, 2, 3. You hear me? Yeah. And next thing you know what I'm saying, you putting yourself in situations. So now when rebuke come, when chastisement come, you realize brothers ain't really getting down with your campaign come, you get cast down in front of the midst of the congregation, or you get exposed for smoking weed, popping women on the side, committing adultery. Now you feel crazy, right? Because what?
Because thou camest not in truth to the fear of the Lord,
what?
But thy heart is full of deceit.
Because you wasn't rooted in the faith of Yahushua. So now your heart was full of deceit, and now you got cast down. But what you say, bro? You got a precept?
I had a precept coming.
All right, what is it? I'll pull it for you.
Matthew 21:42.
All right, let's get that.
Just going into the foundation and understanding that you gotta have a solid foundation in this truth, and Yahushua is that solid foundation that we need in this thing. Like we was at the summit, we was talking to the elders, and one big thing that stood out to me, they said, hey, learn Yahushua. So you gotta learn Yahushua in this thing. But this Matthew 20:42, it says, Yahweh Shah said unto them, did ye never read in the scriptures, the stone which the builders rejected, the same is become the head of the corner. This is the Lord's doing. So
Mhm.
Yahweh Shah, he's the head of the corner. He's that chief cornerstone. But a lot of people in their spirit, they really reject Yahweh Shah. They don't truly believe in Yahweh Shah. They don't truly believe in his sayings and how he moved on this earth. They really reject him in their heart. Like it said in the scriptures of verse 39, they're full of deceit. They
Mhm.
reject the truth. A lot of people just really reject Yahweh Shah though. But with that I yield though.
Okay, con. Yep. Okay, con. So now it tell you they don't got no root in themselves, right? So now let's get another verse. Let's get this other verse real quick. We're gonna do some reading on this real quick too. So, all right. So let's go to the book of Job, chapter 8, and we're gonna start at verse number 8.
Job 8 and 8. It says, for inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and
Right.
prepare thyself to the search of their fathers.
Right. So it's telling us to inquire of the former age, like we did with the history earlier, so we can better get an understanding on why we are in the condition we are in. What did our forefathers do to cause this? How did our forefathers overcome hard times? How did our forefathers get to where they at? And what should we learn from our forefathers to get us to where we're going? Keep going.
For we are but of yesterday, and know nothing, because our days upon the earth are a shadow.
Right.
Shall not they teach thee?
So shall not our days of the old of times past teach us the how certain brothers didn't make it in the truth during the time of Yahushua, during the time of Paul, right? We're gonna get those things, right? But also how we went into slavery, and it shall teach you how we're gonna get out of slavery. And like we're reading these history books, we learn and see what our ancestors went through during slavery, right? And even what we read earlier, the scholar wrote in his book that the blacks have always been predominantly slaves in the Middle East, in the Persian Empire and on up, right? In the Greco-Roman antiquity, right? These people have always been slaves. Then we go read another book. In that other book, they tell us that the blacks and the Jews share some commonalities. They have been hated of other people and they have always been in slavery, right? So with these things, they teach us, right, by inquiring of our forefathers, right? So read that verse 11.
Verse 11. Can the rush grow without mire? Can the flag grow without water?
So a lot of people will read that verse right there and won't understand what it's talking about, but we're going to simplify it for you. So now let's go back to that verse 11 and read that again.
Can papyrus reeds grow tall without a marsh?
Right?
Can grass flourish without water?
Right. So you got to ask yourself. Now people want to ask Google everything, right? So now let's ask Google. Let's ask Google, can what I'm saying, papyrus reeds grow without marsh? And then we're gonna, what I'm saying, we're gonna bring the commonality of what the scriptures is telling us, right? So now let me see. I wanted to get Esau to tell you, but I guess
Go, you can click it right there.
no. Yeah. There we go. Go ahead, read that.
Papyrus plants cannot grow where there is no swamp, and reeds cannot grow tall without water.
So without water, without being nurturing, certain plants and certain things cannot grow. Watch this.
While they are still growing and not yet cut, they will dry up quicker than grass.
They will dry up quicker than grass. So why did I bring this up, right? So now let's go back to this. So now read this again. So when you look at this, the Bible is comparing our growth in this truth to papyrus reeds, right? And letting you know that papyrus reeds can't grow tall without marsh, without a swamp. And the swamps can't, what I'm saying, produce without water. So what is it saying? We need nurturing, right? Because our papyrus reeds grow from the soil of the marsh. So without water, without nourishment and nutrition, that seed won't grow, right? So keep reading.
Con. It says, while
Read it
they
from
are
the top. Or read
okay,
it from the top again and read into it, right?
Con. Can poplar's reeds grow tall without a marsh? Can marsh grass flourish without water?
Right.
While they are still flowering,
So when
not
you think about when you think about what we just read in the book of Mark, chapter 4, when it tell you about the seed sown on stony ground, it might still grow for a moment around them stones a little bit. But what after a while, like it said, when persecution and affliction arise, they become offended, and what happened? They leave. But now watch what it's saying about this poplar's reed when it's growing tall without a marsh, or a marsh flowing without water, right? Watch this. Go ahead, King.
while they are still flowering, not ready to be cut, they begin to wither more quickly than grass.
They begin to wither more quickly than grass. Keep reading. So now
The,
watch what the end of the matter gonna say.
the same happens to all who forget God.
And this happens to everybody who forgets God. Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. So when your root is not in Yahweh Shai, you soon begin to forget God. Your reasons for coming into this truth become the wrong reasons. And it says, what at the end of that verse?
The hopes of the godless evaporate.
Let's plain upon tables. Watch this, read.
God, their confidence hangs by a thread.
It says their confidence in this truth hangs by a thread because they wasn't rooted in Yahweh. They don't really have faith. They don't understand, right? They just listen to the teachings of men. And once that teaching goes off, they cut the video off, they cut their phone off, and they get straight back to the folly. Keep reading.
They are leaning on a spider's web.
Right, they hanging on a thread. And now you gotta imagine that. Imagine somebody hanging. What happens, all of y'all, if you put your hand on the spider web, you tripping off the porch and you try to grab a spider web to hang you up.
I'm off the porch.
You off the porch, right? Keep going.
God, they cling to their home for security,
They cling to their home for security. Watch this.
but it won't last.
Keep going.
They try to hold it tight, but it will not endure.
Watch this.
The godless seem like a lush plant growing in the sunshine, its
Watch this.
branches spreading across the garden.
So when they first come into this truth, certain brothers sprout up. They start to grow across the garden. Brothers start to gain reputation. A sister starts to gain reputation. But what happens? Keep reading.
It says its roots grow down through the pile of stones.
It said its roots grow down through what?
Through a pile of stones.
Through a pile of stones. The same stones we talking about in the book of Mark chapter 4. Keep going.
It takes hold on a bed of rocks.
And they foundation gets built on a thing of rocks, a couple. And when you what is another thing that a rock does? It's a what? A stumbling block. You get hit with all these different stumbling blocks. Keep running.
But when it is uprooted, it's as though it never existed.
So when you look at certain brothers and certain sisters in this truth who come in this truth, they doing good works, right? They doing their thing. All of y'all, oh man, you heard bro, bring it out of that camp. That man sounded just like a carbon copy of so and so because that's all his foundation was about. You know what I'm saying? Brother breaking down the 12 feathers at camp. But then when you ask the brother, you know what I'm saying, what he going through, I'm battling this, I'm battling that. Me and my wife be fish fighting time to time. Well, what scriptures you got on anger? Man, damn, King. That's a good one. What scriptures you got on lust? Damn, King, I'm gonna have to look into that because ain't gonna give me some, right? And these certain brothers who put these gifts in that wasn't rooted in Yahweh Shai, it says when they become uprooted out this truth, it is as though they never existed. It's certain brothers and sisters right now who then left the truth, and after a while, bro, it's like they never was here. Like, oh damn, I forgot all about that brother or that sister, right? Keep reading.
Con, it says that is the end of his life, and others sprang up from the earth to replace it.
And other people who come in this thing serious and rooted up on Yahweh Shai, they come up and replace you. This is what the Bible is talking about, right? This is the same thing that the Bible is talking about. So now let's get this over here. Let's get this other precept, right? I think you think I know. Give me a second.
Con.
Damn, where is it?
I'm gonna say something real fast though.
Go ahead.
And you think about this, how it is. Again, a lot of people, they not really truly rooting this thing. Their foundation ain't really truly deep in this thing. It draws back to the precept that we brought out previously in Psalms chapter 1, right? Because they didn't truly meditate in on the law. They didn't truly delight in the law, statutes, commandments. They really did this because they seen the fame, they seen the glory, they seen how brothers really was breaking down the scriptures. They seen how, oh, sister was this and this had this, sister had that sister had this going on. They seen the things of men and trying to please men instead of trying to really, truly, sincerely please the Lord. Therefore, when tribulation or times got rough or whatever happened to them, they got rooted, and it was like they was never in this truth. That's when it was like you see the brother or you see the sister, man, I ain't with that no more. That's when they come out with that video. This is why I left the Hebrew Israelite community. You know what I'm saying? This is why this is why that, as if they was never there in the first place,
Right.
right? But you got it, King.
Yeah, read this in Ezekiel 33 real quick. Verse 12.
Ezekiel 33, verse 12. Therefore, thou son of man, say unto the children of thy people, the righteousness of the righteous shall not deliver him in the day of his transgression. As for the wickedness of the wicked, he shall not fall thereby in the day that he turneth from his wickedness, neither shall the righteous be able to live for his righteousness in the day that he sinneth.
Keep going.
When I shall say to the righteous that he shall surely live, if he trust in his own righteousness and commit iniquity, all his righteousness shall not be remembered.
It said what?
All his righteousness shall not be remembered,
Right.
but for his iniquity that he hath committed, he shall die for it.
So that's what the Bible said. It's plain upon table. The same way he spoke about in the book of Job. That brother, he would die off and be uprooted, who's not rooted in your house shot. And after a while, another will come by and replace that brother.
I had
Right.
preached it to you.
All right, what is it? I got you.
Psalms 39:5. Right, and then that goes back again. You can't just expect because you done kept a couple Sabbaths, you got your fringes on, that you gonna be all right. That's that price hopping in. But let me give you this. It says, "Behold, thou hast made my days as a handbreadth, and my age as nothing before thee. Verily, every man at his best state is altogether vanity, Salah." So you at your best state, that best moment, it's all but vanity. That's why you got to continue to be humble and meek in this thing and hoping for mercy from the Most High, that He have mercy upon you. But you got to kill.
Con, that's a mighty one, right? All right, so now let's go back to this, right? Let's go back to this. We winding down, and we might have to do a part 2 on this because you know what I'm saying. We want to tap in and fully break these things down, right? And matter of fact, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a 2-part. You know what I'm saying? Just for the sake of time, all of y'all. You know, so I know we've been on here a minute, so the next time we're gonna finish this about those who sown among thorns, and then you know what I'm saying, and care for the worlds, and then we're gonna do those that sown on good ground. But I want to get some more examples, right, on other brothers who, you know what I'm saying, they have no root in themselves, right, but they only endure for a moment, right? When you go into Paul's letters, right, let's read this in Paul's letters. When you read about Paul's ministry, what was Paul telling you throughout his ministry? Let me read this up. Give me a second. Let me find this precept. So when you look at Paul's ministry, you know what I'm saying? There was a lot of people who turned their back on Paul, right? There was a lot of people who turned their back on Paul. When things got hectic and things got nifty, they didn't stick around, but they dipped, right? And Paul gives you exhortation on that, right? Watch this. Read this, King. 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse number 9.
Khan, do thy diligence to come shortly unto me, for the mouse has forsaken me, having loved the present world, and is departed unto Thessalonica.
Right.
Crescens to Galatia.
Right.
Titus unto Dalmatia.
Right.
Only Luke is with me.
Right.
Take Mark and bring him with thee, for he is profitable to me for the ministry.
And he said he's become profitable for me concerning the ministry. So when you look at this, when Paul started being persecuted, right? These were the brothers who, you know what I'm saying? These were some of the brothers. Titus, brother, got a whole book in the Bible, right? This was one of the brothers. These were brothers who, when Paul was going to their cities teaching and waking them up, man, brothers was on fire. Brothers ready to get to it. But when the fiery trials came, when the persecutions arose, what did they do? When Paul got arrested and started facing time, man, these brothers pieced out on Paul. Some of these brothers went back into the world. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these brothers, hey, they started doing their own thing, right? They started going and doing their own thing, right? Let me show. It's another one. Yep, this is the one I wanted right here. Let me show you this. Let me read these other ones so you can read it from Paul. Watch this. The Second Timothy. Let me see. Keep reading. Now keep reading on this. I don't know why I clicked on that. Read this.
It says, at my first answer, no man stood with me, but all men forsook me.
He said what?
But all men forsook me. I pray God that it may not be laid to their charge. Notwithstanding, the Lord stood with me and strengthened me, that by me the preaching might be fully known, and that all the Gentiles might hear I was delivered out of the mouth of the lion.
And he was delivered out of the mouth of the lion. So when you read here, what you read about when you read these things, right? You read about, man, how Paul was forsaken. When things got rough and things got rocky, a lot of brothers dipped on Paul, man. A lot of brothers dipped on Paul. You know what I'm saying? A lot of brothers got out of there on Paul, right? And when I'm trying to show you this other one. It was another one, but I can't think of it right now. So I want to see if it's gonna pop up on here. This one, yep. Read this right here, 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse number 15.
It says, this thou knowest, that all they which are in Asia be turned away from me, and of whom are Vigilus and
Hermogenes.
The Lord give mercy unto the house of a son of Forest, for he oft refreshed me and was not ashamed of my chain.
Right.
But when he was in Rome, he sought me out very diligently and found me.
So it was one brother out of all these brothers who was around Paul who was mighty. They rocking. When Paul doing the work, they seeing people repent. They tuned into it. They got to be a part of it. But when the persecution arose, a lot of them people forsook Paul. They dipped and went right back into the world. Titus dipped and went right back into the world. You know what I'm saying? These were the brothers who dipped on this man. And he said the only one that was left remaining amongst them was Luke. So you got to realize that in his truths, everybody's foundation in his truth is not going to be on good soil. You're going to have brothers who get cast by the wayside, and you're going to have certain brothers whose foundation is on stony ground, in which we just read about, right? So with that, you know what I'm saying, for the sake of time, because we kind of, you know what I'm saying, probed in on their history and on current events a little longer than we wanted to. And I don't want to have brothers and sisters on here too long, but we definitely going to come back and touch on that, but we definitely wanted to crack it off, right, on them first two. So I'm going to pull this precept real quick right here, and we're going to give a couple of closing ones, and then we're going to have to do a part 2 on this. But I want you to read this. I want you to read this, Ken. Read 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse number 20.
2 Ezra 9 and verse 20. So I considered the world, and behold, there was peril because of the devices that were come into it.
Right. So the devices is the tricks of the heathens that they have put in place to put stumbling blocks before the Israelites. Read.
And I saw and spared it greatly, and have kept me a grape of the cluster, and a plant of a great people.
So what is the Lord saying? He has a remnant of a people that he have kept to himself that won't be overthrown, that won't be bewitched, right? And they won't be sifted out, that the seed won't fall on the wayside, on the stony ground, or on the thorns, right? Keep reading.
Let the multitude perish then.
Oh, he said the rest of those people who not rooted and grounded, let them perish. Read.
which was born in vain, and let my grape be kept in my plant. For with great labor have I made it perfect.
And this is the way the Most High look at us, right? So with that, we have to pray and keep the faith and continue to stay rooted in this understanding that what we might be of that grape of cluster and of the plant of that great people who the Most High is reserving to Himself, right? Which is the 144,000 in the elect, right? Or the chosen 1/3, right? The innumerable multitude. So we have to examine ourselves and ask ourselves, who are we in this truth, right? You know what I'm saying? Am I rooted and built up in Yahweh Shai for real? Or is it just a phase? Because sometimes when you think about it, man, sometimes when you look at our people and the way that we carry ourselves, a lot of people in this truth, you know what I'm saying, they carry themselves as if they already know they made it. They ain't always done enough, right? Watch this. Read this. 2 Corinthians 13, King.
The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 6.
Yep.
You want verse
Verse
6?
5.
Okay. Verse 5.
Yep.
Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith.
Right.
Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Yahweh Shah Mashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates.
Right. So when you think about that, you have to truly examine yourself, man, whether you be in this truth or not, whether you putting on for the Lord genuinely or sincerely or not, right? And when you think about this, right, think about this, man. Moses and Aaron was the greatest of their time and the greatest amongst people. Moses is still spoke about on the upscale when it comes to Israelites and leaders in Israel, right? But when you think about Moses, when he and Aaron, through the spirit of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, led the Israelites out of Egypt, Moses, all that time he stood in the wilderness with those Israelites, right? The wicked complaining, moaning, and groaning, and trying to replace him. At the end of the day, Moses and Aaron wasn't even allowed to see the promised land. It was only Joshua, Caleb, and the youth. So think about that. Are you greater than Moses? Are you greater than Aaron? Right? When you think about this, these brothers was, man, mighty in their works with delivering the Israelites out of Egypt through the spirit and power of the Most High. But when it came down to it, when it came time to proceed into the promised land, these brothers didn't make it. The Lord told them they was going to die in the wilderness, man. You know what I'm saying? And we not saying that Moses and Aaron might not be regenerated on the earth and they're not going to get the kingdom through your house shot. But the point is, when we first was inheriting our land, these two men were prominent figures, right? And to me, the most powerful and famous dudes in Israel, right? But they didn't inherit the promised land. What does that tell you about yourself? You know what I'm saying? Are you doing enough? And are you being humble enough and crying out to the Lord and fully examining yourself on the daily? Or are you being, you know what I'm saying, content and you being complacent and feeling like you're doing what you're doing? Are you letting the distractions, the discord, the debates, the arguing, the exposing keep you distracted from praying and sighing to the Lord to make sure your calling and your election is sure? Are you truly examining yourself? Because at the end of the day, all of this is in vain if you really not examining yourself to repent, right? Are you watching the current events happening in the world, the bombings, the famines, the tsunamis, the earthquakes, just to be sitting there mocking the heathen? Or are you seeing these things and seeing the judgments of God come to pass, and you praying for the Lord to continue to send those judgments, but also help you to overcome all the demons and the trials and the diversity of demons that you battling, that you may be able to be called out of those things, right? Are you being a good wife to your husbands? Are you being a good husband to your wife and your household? Are you being a good brother in the ministry? Are you being a good sister to your sister? These are the things that you got to ask yourself, because at the end of the day, Paul said, what? Examine yourselves whether you be in the faith. You have to prove your own self. And if don't nobody else know, you know yourself, how that if Yahweh Shai is in you, except you be reprobate. So a lot of people have to ask themselves, are you borderline reprobate? You got to ask yourself, are you borderline reprobate? Do you lack judgment when it comes to God's laws? You know what I'm saying? Are you cold-hearted when it comes to God's judgments? Because a thing that's going to prove, a thing that's going to deceive a lot of people when Yahweh shall come is Israel has so much confidence in itself with this Bible. When you hear yourself teach with authority, you shake the hand. There's people who admire the way you teach. It's people that admire the way you carry yourself. There's people who admire your marriage to the point where some Israelites think they invincible and they spend more time trying to mock, rebuke, and you know what I'm saying, shake the hand at other people that they not shaking it at themselves, right? So read this, King. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1.
It says, "This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves."
So when we use these precepts, right, we always speak about the wicked of our people, right? The people who are in the world. But put this equation amongst the Israelite community that they call it, right? Put this amongst the Israelites who know they Israelites in the last days, right? Go ahead.
For men shall be lovers of their own selves.
Men shall be lovers of their own self. What does that mean? Brothers is always bigging themselves up, right? They always bigging themselves up. Hey man, you know, I'm this, I'm that, and you know, I overcame that. Oh, I think the most high I don't battle with pornography no more. Brother, you gotta repent and quit being so freaky. I think the most high I don't smoke weed no more, brother. You got to put the weed down and quit being simple. You know what I'm saying? Brother, be so quick to make themselves seem like they have perfected sin that, you know what I'm saying, they start to feel themselves. They become a lover of themselves. They love to hear themselves teach, right? When after they teach, they want to give you a personal commentary. Hey, you heard what I said, right? And they reliving what they said. Brother, don't nobody give a damn about that at this point. Did the brother repent? No. So why are we talking about it, right? Read.
It says, covetous, boasters,
Boasting, they
proud.
always boasting about something that they have did, right? Brothers take away that the Lord won a sheep over, or the Lord allowed you through his spirit to overcome a demon at camp. You over here telling brothers what you did at camp, right? Brothers don't want to hear about that. Brothers are always boasting about they got the right understanding on this, or they got the right understanding on that. Or sisters is boasting about how they unleavened bread is the best. They dress code is the best, right? And they don't look at other things, right? Read.
Blasphemers,
Now, proud,
disobedient,
blasphemers, right?
disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural
And
affection.
they said a lot of people have they without natural affection. What is another way of natural affection? You know what I'm saying? People don't have that natural affection that we once used to have for each other no more, man. Sisters will see sisters in need and turn a cold shoulder and do them dirty. Sisters will see brothers in a hard time and do them dirty, and vice versa. Brothers will see brothers on the other side of the fence going through it. Instead of trying to pull that brother out the fire, brothers want to mock that brother and, you know what I'm saying, criticize that brother and try to tell him like they were telling Job everything in the world that he's doing wrong and why this is happening and why that is happening, right? Read.
It says truth breakers,
Right,
false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good,
right.
traitors, heady, high-minded.
High-minded. A lot of people have become high-minded in the last days. And if we don't fix our spirit, bro, we gonna be the ones that get exposed. Because when you think about it, when you high-minded, you don't put yourself to a level that can fall. And when you become high-minded, when somebody come to you with an offense of something that you might have did that was wicked or that was off, you come up with all these different reasons on why you were justified for doing what you was doing. These are the people that have to examine themselves and wonder, hey, if I become borderline reprobate. But go ahead, King, if you got a point.
I had on it because just going into what you're going into, you know what I'm saying, and what that's going into is people really justifying themselves. We get Job 9:20. It says,
I got you.
right, con. So it says this is if I justify myself, my own mouth shall condemn me. Right? You got brothers and sisters out here that's saying that's putting that out there as if they're perfect. They don't do nothing wrong. They got it all together. They this, they that. Oh, y'all Negroes, y'all doctrine, y'all know what's going on. If y'all wants to have good doctrine, come over here. They're justifying themselves, right? And the Lord said, "Hey, your own mouth will condemn you for that. If I say I'm perfect, it shall also prove me perverse." And so many people got perverted spirits on them, right? Saying that they're thinking that they're perfect, they got it all figured out, and they're really pervert, they're really freaks, they're really widows, man. Right? And they don't really know what's going on, but you got it, King.
Con, that's right, bro. And when you get this right here, I got another one. It just hit me when you brought this up, right? Think of this right here, right? Look at this. This is another spirit of brothers being a brother that could potentially be reprobate, right? So when you look at this, right, let's read this. It says the Pharisee and the publican, Luke chapter 18, verse number 9.
It says, and he spake this parable unto certain which trusted in themselves
What you
that
have I say?
and he spake this parable unto certain which trusted in themselves that they were righteous.
So he said he had to make this parable because even during the time when he was alive, and for people through in the spirit and future prophecy, they would trust and believe in themselves to be righteous. The things that they do is righteous, right? And what?
And despise others.
And they quickly despise others. Read.
Two men went up into the temple to pray, the one a Pharisee and the other a publican.
Right.
The Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself, God, I thank thee that I am not as other men are, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even as this publican.
Right. So when they pray, they not praying. So when they see brothers battling certain sins, right? And this is just like today. Certain brothers, when they see certain brothers battling certain sins or struggling certain things, they not apt to pray for these brothers that they are overcome these things and send up prayers like our fore. Let's get that real quick, bro. We got to get that real quick. Let me show you an example on how our forefather, you know what I'm saying, how our forefather prayed, man. Watch this. This is how our forefathers prayed. They prayer one like this publican, this Pharisee, what we just seen, right? Watch this. Watch this. And read this, Daniel 9 and 4, King.
Come on, Daniel 9 and 4. And I prayed unto the Lord my God and made
Now,
my
start at verse 3.
verse 3. And I set my face unto the Lord God to seek by prayer and supplication with fasting and sackcloth and ashes.
This is the prayer of a diligent, sincere brother right here. Read.
And I prayed unto the Lord my God and made my confession.
And made my what?
And made my confession.
So this brother didn't start his prayer off by acknowledging everything that he's not doing. He didn't get on here and say, thank you that I'm not this. Thank you that I'm not that, right? But what?
And said, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping the covenant and mercy to them that love him and to them that keep his commandments. We have sinned and committed iniquity.
He said what?
We have sinned and have committed iniquity.
So a lot of brothers not nowhere near mighty as the brother Daniel was, bro. Daniel was able to interpret dreams. And because of Daniel, we know how to understand the major captivities of our people. We understand Esau's beginning of rulership. We know about the four beasts. You know what I'm saying? Daniel had a key part in us understanding prophecies, but all of that, this is the way Daniel prayed, man. When Daniel got these revelations from Yahweh Shem Yahweh shot through the angel, Daniel didn't boast himself up and say, oh, Yahweh, thank you for blessing me with this knowledge. Thank you for not blessing me to be wicked like the other Israelites over here that's doing this and doing that, right? But he came out and said, we have sinned. Even if he wasn't going off the way other people was, he took accountability and acknowledgement to assert himself into the folly of our people. Read that again.
We have sinned and committed iniquity and have done wickedly,
right?
And have rebelled, even by departing from thy precepts and from thy judgments.
Right. So when you think about that, man, this is the way that Daniel prayed. So now go back to this, man, and look at how this brother is praying. And you got to ask yourself, and the only person knows is you. What type of brother are you, or what type of sister are you? Do your spirit resonate with Daniel when you pray for repentance as a whole, or are you just like this Pharisee brother, right? Come on.
Khan, it says, two men went up into the temple to pray, and the one a Pharisee and the other a publican. The Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself, God, I thank thee that I'm not as other men are, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even as this publican. I fast twice in a week. I give tithes of all that I possess.
Now, hold on, bro. So what is this brother doing right now? In a prayer, He's not fasting and truly praying, giving supplications like Daniel was. He's boasting about everything he glad he's not doing. He's a lover of himself. He's high-minded. He's speaking on himself, and he lacks natural affection and compassion for his neighbor. He's sitting over here saying, and thank God I'm not like this publican over here, right? Go
Right.
ahead.
It says, and the publican standing afar off would not lift up so much as his eyes unto heaven, but smote upon his breast, saying, God, be merciful to me, a sinner.
Watch this.
I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For every one that exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted.
So take heed to that, man. It's about examining yourself and being more humble. We got to be more humble in these last days. We got to pray more for repentance, not only of our own personal sins, but the sins of our brothers and our sisters and of our nation, man. We got to take accountability together. And when you read this prayer, ain't nothing wrong with thanking the Most High for blessing you to overcome a certain lust or sin that you was dealing with. But don't be that brother or sister that boast about all your accomplishments all the time, bro. You always bragging about what you have done, what you could have did, how many souls you done baptized. This the same type of man that this Pharisee guy was. But it was another brother in this count, the publican, examining himself so hard that he ain't even want to look up to the heaven when he sent this prayer up. And Yahushua telling you which one of them he gonna accept. So you got to examine within yourself and, hey, damn, is Yahweh Shai dealing with my prayers? When he come back, is he going to acknowledge me? Right? We have to examine ourselves, right? Watch this. Is this the one I wanted? Let me see. This another one. Yeah, I want this one. All right, so all right. Read this. Luke 13:23.
In the book of Luke, chapter 13, verse 23.
Hold on.
Then
Let me get there. My bad. Yeah, go ahead.
it says, Then said one unto him, Lord, are there few that be saved? And he said unto them, Strive to enter in at the straight gate, for many, I say unto you, will seek to enter in and shall not be able.
And so we can't overlook that, man. He said it's going to be a lot of people who are going to be striving to enter into that gate and they not going to be able to, right? And we always like to throw the Christians and the 2/3 in there. But what if that is some of the Israelites with fringes on and zeets in the last days? What if they are part of that number? Brothers who really not examining themselves, right? Because these fringes and these zeets don't make you stand a part of your actions the same as a brother who don't got that on, right? Come on.
It says, When once the master of the house is risen up and have shut to the door, and ye begin to stand without and to knock at the door, saying, Lord, Lord, open unto us. And he shall answer and say unto you, I know you not I know you not whence ye are.
Who you is, right?
Right. Then shall ye begin to say, We have eaten and drunk in thy presence.
What is
And
this saying? And hold on, what is this saying? This is brothers and sisters who have partook in the new moon, in the Passover, in the feast of Purim, in the destruction of Nicanor, in the feast of first fruits. These are the same brothers and sisters that partook in these feast days, right? Keep on.
and thou hast taught in our streets.
And you have taught in our streets. And hey, man, we went to camp faithfully, right? I always was at camp. You know what I'm saying? I was bringing out 30 precepts of camp session, right? For each topic, I had 15 precepts. Now, what you mean, Lord? You don't know who I am. Keep reading.
But he shall say, I tell you, I know you not whence ye are. Depart from me, all ye workers of iniquity.
All ye workers of iniquity. So what is the Lord telling you right here, man? Don't feel like you already got it figured out, man. And you just confidently waiting on the Lord because you deceiving yourself. Examine yourself. Work on your demons. You know what I'm saying? Ask yourself when you at home in your secret closet or you on your laying on the back of your bed, man, what demons am I battling? Am I good? You know what I'm saying? Examine yourself for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? But with that, King, you got something else, you got it. That's all for me.
Man, I just say mighty point. And I can't say nothing after that, man. That's a good point though, man. That's a good point. I'll praise the most high.
So, you know what I'm saying? With that, that's all we got. That's our time. We over the 2 hour and a half mark. So I pray for the brothers and sisters that stuck on, that listen. I pray it was edifying. Hey, share it, send it to brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? We gotta focus less on all these big breakdowns, all these major destructions. We got to get off of the Isaiah 4 and 1 train. You know what I'm saying? We got to get off of the, certain things that gonna be is gonna be. We gonna have, it's gonna be multiple wives in the kingdom. It's gonna, Isaiah 4 and 1 gonna be fulfilled. You know what I'm saying? Isaiah 14 gonna be fulfilled. Revelations 13 gonna be fulfilled. Isaiah 60 gonna be fulfilled. And also Isaiah 66 gonna be fulfilled. All these scriptures is gonna be fulfilled. But what you gotta ask yourself is, other scriptures that gotta be fulfilled, are you gonna be a part of those scriptures, the destruction scriptures or the salvation scriptures? So just keep that in mind, brothers and sisters. Continue to fast, pray, examine yourself, be a better brother, be a better sister, be a better husband, be a better wife, be a better child, be a better prophet. You know what I'm saying? Be a better planter, be a better everything that can benefit this truth, man. So I pray, brothers and sisters, have a productive week. And with that, we say shalom.
Shalom.